It's time for Roll for Combat.
Hey, look at this. We are back with our regular three. The trio.
It's been a while.
The pentagram. Pentagram?
That's not a pentagram.
That's five.
The trigram.
It's a trigram or a triad or something.
Triad.
Like
That's
that.
what I was looking for. The triad. We have the triad.
Triumvirate, even.
The triumvirates. Ooh, I like that.
The triumvirate.
If we were branches of government, which ones would we be?
What?
I'm clearly not the executive, so I'm going to say Steven's the
I
executive.
think Steven's the executive branch. I'm the judicial
and
branch.
Derik is the judicial.
You guys are fighting over.
And you were
who's judicial.
legislative, Derik.
Well, my thought process is, Mark, I don't actually write anything. I just critique and judge other people's work.
Oh, that's fair.
That's
Whereas
true.
I write things.
You write the bills.
But our legislative branch doesn't really write as many things as they should be.
That-
And
well,
that's similar to you,
this is
Derek.
fantasy. We are talking about a fantasy
doesn't actually
game
get anything
here.
done, which could be me. Yeah, that's true. Yes.
It's total fantasy. Wow, that is funny. Anyhow, as your president, first order of business.
Anything to distract us from this horribly clickbait title.
Oh no, actually, there's a reason. I will get into it.
Trust D&D and WoTC.
Well, I'll
Here's the
tell you-
thing.
yeah.
Here's the thing. You should never trust a company. You can trust some of the people who are in the company. Maybe. If you know that there are people in the company, there are people who are at WoTC right now, and I trust those people a lot. And a few of them I have trusted with like major things before.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you should trust a company, because the company can change who is in it at the drop of a hat by firing them,
that's
by
what I
putting
said
someone
now.
else in there.
I said now.
But also, too, you have to realize something, which is there's this weird like tension, right? Because in the annals of trusting companies, right, no company should be trusted. But even in that spectrum, okay, your local mom and pop shop or your local person who is a single member LLC, that's a company, versus a conglomerate. Remember, Wizards of the Coast is owned by Hasbro, which is a conglomerate, which itself is a publicly traded company. And the thing is despite your, like, as an employee, I used to work for a publicly traded company, and I might have had my principles, but if you believe that person is a good person and that they are a good and have they're a good employee, well, they probably take their responsibilities as a member of that company seriously. And if the company says, "Hey, look, we need to make money, we need to do X, Y, and Z," they're going to say, "Look, I have a responsibility to do that as well." So even if it's a good person working at a company, being a good person working at a company might mean you got to toe the bottom line.
You're right. And that, when I say don't trust a company, to be fair, I generally mean like a publicly traded company. I think that if it's okay to trust a single member LLC whose single member is a person who you trust and there's nobody else there, because I think it's fine to trust people that that person and you kind of understand what they're going to do. But if it's a publicly traded company, or even if it's not, but there's just a lot of people involved and a lot of internal politics and turnover, it's just like, it's a mistake, I think, for us to take our critical judgment and just kind of let it lapse and just say, I will always trust this company because its brand makes me feel good. Or I'll never trust it because the brand makes me feel bad. So, you know what I mean? So
this comes from two things. It came from, as usual, I'm always looking up weird stuff. The first one I was looking up, which was fascinating, is I'm not exactly sure how this came up, but it basically came up that it came up with the concept of companies being evil. And this is where it gets weird. So General Henry Ford of the Ford Company, when he was
a known great person.
No, this is where it gets, that's what I said. It gets weird. Okay?
A true American who never did anything controversial or fascist.
Are you let me get it finished? When he started his company, this is well known, is that he was making cars, but he had to have people who could afford them. So what he did is he was a publicly traded company, is that he paid his workers double the amount that anyone else was being paid. And then he also put all of his money back into either teaching, learning, building up the factory. Like, he actually gave a lot back to the workers. In fact, the next day when he announced that all workers at Ford were getting double the pay of any other car manufacturers, he had 10,000 people show up apply for jobs the next day. And he was sued by everyone. He was sued by all the other car companies, and then he was sued by the shareholders because they said, you can't do that. You're not allowed to actually pay your employees that much money. And here's the crazy part. He lost. He actually lost, saying, no, you have to use your money to make the company better, not the employees. And this actually was the beginning of all this shit that we see now. Is that he started off, and the reason he did it is so people had enough money to buy his cars. He actually did it on purpose because he wanted to, he did it, yes, he gave people more money. The crazy part is the average pay back then, adjusted for inflation, is like $150 a day in like the 20s, which is like more than what, like 30% of what Americans make now or something. It's insane. Anyhow, the point is, that's where evil came. That's what I couldn't believe. I was looking this up, but he's like, he lost. He actually lost these lawsuits. They said, no, you can't pay your workers that much. You can't make their lives better. That's not your job. That's like the government's job. You are beholden to the shareholders, and you have to make them make more money. So there was a sliver of good news in there.
In modern corporate instances, right? There's a lot of instances where, they, where majority or not majority, but minority stakeholders will get together, right? And they will sue a company because they believe that they are not acting in the best interest of their shareholders.
Right. And that's become a very standard. I
believe you mean.
Yeah. Well, anyhow, so here's where it gets at. So this is where it came from. So the second reason is that, as always, I always follow the video game industry, and I see what's going on with the video game industry, and usually the, TTRPG industry is close behind. Now, this is where it gets very interesting. So there used to be E3. I'll get to the super chat in a second. So it used to be E3. E3 doesn't exist anymore, which sucks. But now it's Gamescom. So Gamescom is now the largest public game show in the world. It's in Germany. It's in Cologne, Germany. It's taking place right now. And two things happened. Yesterday was like the big opening. First of all, Warlock was shown. So actually I was talking to Dan Ayub because that's literally his game. So we're going to see if we get him on. Talk about Warlock. It actually looks really good. I mean, it looks like God of War with magic. I was like, holy shit, this actually looks a pretty good game. So that's the first thing. But what really made it interesting is so every couple of years, there's always something that like blows everyone out of the water. I remember when they announced Half-Life 2. Nobody knew, like even people in the industry, no one knew that was coming out. And when that was announced, it was like shockwaves through the gaming community. When Keanu Reeves came out to announce Cyberpunk, that was shockwaves. And yesterday was another shockwave moment, is that out of nowhere, no one expected this. The Witcher 3, one of the greatest video games of all time, they showed and announced that there's a massive update to the game. It comes out in less than a month, and it's completely free. And so the game's 11 years old. They've completely redone the game, redid the graphics, rewrote the entire combat, which pretty much was the only bad thing of that game. That game is considered one of the greatest games of all time. It sold like, I think 85 million copies, something absolutely fucking insane. And they announced, if you have any version of Witcher 3, we will upgrade it to give you all the downloads for free. And their downloads, they were Larian before Larian became Larian, and they kind of screwed it up a little with Cyberpunk, but they were considered the Larian of Larian. Is that their quote download is 40 hours long, like their DLC. Their DLC is longer than most games, and they're giving it all for free. They're giving an update. They're redoing the game, and it's coming out on all modern consoles, including like Switch 2. And everyone like lost their collective minds. It's all anyone's been talking about. And it's coming out in less than a month. So it was like, oh my God. And they're doing this right before GTA 6. And there was other companies doing the same thing where they're giving these massive free updates.
Well, remember
to their games.
If something's free, right?
Yes.
Right, you're the product, like
well,
if they're giving something free, it's because they want to regain relevance. They want to get headlines.
Yes.
They want to suddenly hey, how do we make our
11-year-old
game relevant again?
Yeah, yes and no. They already made it. sold 85 million copies. Okay, there's only a very small handful. We're talking like a dozen or 24 games in the world that have done that well. Okay, it's very, very small. They don't need. They're also an evergreen game. They're one of those. There's only like, I've talked about this in the channel. There's only like 12 games that continuously sell, and they're one of them. You know, in the world, like something like 86% of all gamers only play these like 12 games, and that's it. It's unbelievable how few games people actually play.
They still could get a benefit out of channeling a lot of people into playing their game at around the same time, especially if they have a timing to announce Witcher 4 or some other big announcement.
Well, they already announced Witcher 4. Look, I'm not saying it's not a thing, but it's millions of dollars and years of work for them to do that.
In a theoretical world that does not exist, right? Capitalism should produce great outcomes for the consumer and for the company, right? And the best outcomes are when the companies are inspired by this free market to create the best game, to give customers the best value, right? And that's how they're rewarded in the marketplace. Right. So, you know, hooray. Great. Well,
wait, so let me keep going.
Hooray for the people who play Witcher. What about me, Steven? What about me? I don't play the Witcher.
But here's the thing. When they showed this, someone said it's only free if you buy the game. You're right. It's $24, okay? You can go buy the game for less than a latte, all right? So if you don't have the game...
a latte costs more than $24?
In New York, it sure the hell does. I don't know where you... I
mean, in Las Vegas, it's like 18, so...
Yeah. New York must be more expensive than Las Vegas by like 50%.
Well, it depends what you're putting in it, all right?
Oh, that's a signal place. Maybe not Starbucks.
Exactly. I mean...
Pumpkin Spice is back, baby.
Yeah. Oh, pumpkin's gross. Anyhow... My point is, everyone was watching it, and they were all doing the same thing, which is I was doing, because these remasters come out a lot, and it's always a cost. Now, usually it's not that much. It's like $10, $20, you know, and they always do this. They're like, oh, okay, it's a remaster. That's cool. And I was thinking, oh, I wonder how much this will cost. You know, I'll get it. It looks pretty good. And they're like, free. That's what is causing the issues. It's not that, oh, they completely redid the game. It's that it's a free update. And it's a massive update. Now, no one else does this. It always costs like $10, $20. Hell, I'm not throwing them under the bus, but Kobold Press and a few other publishers are coming out with their 5.5 books. And their 5.5 books ain't free, baby.
Well, I'm gonna just take a guess.
Yeah.
That Kobold Press doesn't swim around in swimming pools full of money due to their top best-selling game of all time thing that you've been talking about.
True.
Yeah.
But
it's
we,
not
normal.
Nobody,
you and I,
Stephen, we would have 5.5 for free.
Steven, know of a game company that basically is like, yeah, we're going to do whatever we want because we have so much money and we can just do whatever we want. And, you know, that's okay. The industry can hate us because we're going to undercut everybody and we're just going to make stuff free because fuck it, we ball.
Yeah, we know. But here's the thing. CD Projekt Red, they're a publicly traded company. That's what's even, they're actually not private, unlike some other these game companies. So that's even what's more shocking. It's that, wow, publicly traded companies giving this out for free.
Right.
So I feel like in Ford's day, maybe things were different, but nowadays there's no way that somebody's gonna put a lawsuit out on a company for giving out things like that. They could just say it's part of our strategy.
It's
right.
definitely completely.
You're right, because back in Ford's day, right, there was still this idea of governmental oversight and regulation. Now companies can do whatever the fuck they want, right? And so now the idea, whether that's evil or good, and so you know they are beholden to no one and nothing, and so yeah.
So let me finish up. I'm almost done with my diatribe. So they're giving out something for free, and then actually a few other companies, whether it's coincidence or not, were also giving their updates for free. Crimson Desert, which just came out, doing very well. Massive game. No one's finished it. Not done. They're coming out with an update, for a big update. And people are like, wait, the game just came out? And you're coming out with like the year, like it usually you wait a year before you come out with these massive updates. Long story short is things are getting weird in the game industry. And that's because they're losing trust. Okay, right now, and if you haven't been paying attention to the news, the game industry is in absolute free fall. It's an absolute bloodbath. Video game industry. It is a nightmare if you're in that industry. Everyone's losing their jobs. All these companies are going out of business left and right. It's really bad. Like really, really, really bad. And so to regain trust, especially with the companies,
it has something to do with the fact that no one has disposable income because our economy's in shambles?
No, actually, no, because it's worldwide. No, actually, it had to do with that during the COVID era, they were getting free money and they were using it. It actually has nothing to do with how much they're making. It actually has to do with how much money they were getting from investors and free money. That's basically where it came from.
Is it also because like budgets are more expensive and then like
and
the
budgets,
price Ramageddon for
No,
computers?
nothing to do. No, nothing to do with that. It just
So what you're
literally
telling
has,
me is that as a whole, the video game industry is terrible at financial planning and made horrible mistakes based off of a short-term windfall of money.
No, it became what is also happening to Hollywood and is actually happening everywhere. And that is the loss of the midterm. So in Hollywood, this also is happening, and Obsession just messed this up, and so did Backrooms and a few others. Actually, it's fascinating if you're if you're watching what I'm watching is like going on in Hollywood and video games and probably TTRPGs. And so there used to be, you release a lot of little movies, a couple of mid movies, and a couple of big movies, right? And you would make all your money pretty much on the mid movies. A good example, 40-year-old version. 40-year-old version made approximately, I think it was like it cost like $40 million to make. It made like $150 million or something in the box office, which is good, but it made over $200 million on DVD. And that's the thing, is that they would count on these mid-range movies where they would come out, they would do fine on, when they came out of the movie theaters, but in DVDs, they'd make hundreds of millions of dollars back, even at selling them at $10. Well, that doesn't exist anymore. And they don't make money on streaming, not like they used to. Streaming is like a weird beast. So the only way they can make money now is for it to come out. And so they all are doing $200 million movies because they're like, well, we can either make 20 small movies that might make a little bit of money, or we can make 5 big movies, and if one hits, it's the jackpot. And they'd rather go for the jackpot. The video game industry is doing the exact same thing. They just don't come out with small, because the industry is so crowded. Think about how many movies there are in streaming. It's like, there was all these movies that came out last week. I guarantee you've never heard of any of them, okay? And these have like huge names in them, like big stars that are coming out last week and this week. You haven't heard of any of these movies, and they're all in the theaters right now.
Well, I think this is just analytics. Yep. Far be it from me to make a sports analogy, but if you look at the distribution of shots, say 10 years ago or 15 years ago.
I know where you're going, the 3 points.
Yes, exactly.
I actually did a dissertation on this in college, but
so they're all over the place. And now everyone either does a shot, a layup basically inside the paint, or a 3-point shot.
Correct.
Because there's no point to doing a mid-range shot, because you get the same number of points and your percentage isn't as high, and you might as well take a 2 feet step back and shoot.
They're also
from
getting better at it
and get 50% more shots.
Yeah, they're getting better at it, but you get only X number of shots per game. I don't want to turn it into a basketball thing. You get X number of shots per game. Therefore, it's okay, do you take the high risk, high reward 3-pointers? Say you only get 100 shots per game, or do you take the more, the less risk, less reward 2-pointers? And right now the answer is you take the 3-pointers. The math works out better because they get whatever. It actually does work out until they go cold, which is the hot hand syndrome. That's actually what I did it on, not hot hand syndrome, if it existed or not. Anyhow, my point is, to get people back, they're doing free stuff. They're giving out free things. Movie theaters are giving out like buckets, and they're just starting to do stuff where they're giving out free things. And D&D is also giving out free stuff. And D&D Beyond, they have that program where they have the drops program where every week they give out free content, which is not nothing. Okay, it's actually kind of big. It's adding up.
It's also kind of factored into the cost of doing business.
I didn't say it wasn't, but they didn't have to do it at all. They weren't doing that. Drops is new. It's only been out for a couple of months now.
So unmitigated greed has been replaced with just normal greed.
No, it's just that they're doing what they can. Is D&D doing what they can through giving out free content, being more open, apologizing for their mistakes, which you were in the room for, Derik, and you saw yourself, and actually coming out with better products.
So maybe the question is D&D trying to regain people's trust?
I think they definitely
Well,
are.
let's
say yes
talk
to
I think
that.
they are.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room. We had a super chat a while ago.
Oh, yeah, let's go.
Oh, yeah.
Mike of Pike.
Yes.
And said, I will never touch a WoTC or Hasbro branded product that isn't being resold. And same with the official D&D products license being product due to the OGL and Pinkerton stuff. You make your own decisions, though.
Right.
So, it sounds like no matter what they do, they're not getting back Ike of Pike.
And that's
and
fine.
There's some number of people who can never be returned because of what they've done. But I maintain that the real power of a boycott is when you don't become unreachable, because that's not actually really a boycott. That's more like just cutting it off entirely, but that you make certain demands or you have something that you want. And then when you get that thing, then you agree to come back. And for me, and I completely respect Ike of Pike's point of view that it was across the line for Ike of Pike. They don't want to come back. For me, coming back was part of, having them not take away the OGL, all those other things back then that we were asking for. Just please don't do that. Don't stab everyone in the back. Please stop.
Right.
And they did, right? And I want to treat that as the negotiation it was, right? And so I feel that a boycott is more effective if you stop it when the other side follows your demands.
And also, you're in a weird, actually, Derik, I want to hear your opinion, because you and I and Mark are in a weird position because we are literally talking to the upper management several times. And what?
I'm in the room where it happened.
You're in the room where it happened.
And I'm in a chat room where Steven tells me that
I tell him what I saw. Okay, I'm talking upper management on a regular basis. I'm talking upper management. I'm talking with a lot of the people behind D&D. And they seem, and first of all, it's very important that with the super chat, everyone who made those decisions is gone. They're all gone. No, okay, none of those people except for the CEO, except for the CEO of Hasbro. He's
Chris Cox.
Chris Cox. I can remember his name for a second. Chris Cox. He's it. Wow, you want Justice and Mackenzie to go? Justice
Bad News Bears was also being like, I'm so triggered by sensitivity readers because everyone's a sensitive snowflake. I'm also a sensitive snowflake for getting triggered by sensitivity readers.
Mackenzie on the show, and she's awesome.
Completely.
Yeah, she was awesome.
Yeah, I think you can just you don't have to pay attention to that.
No, I know. I'm just defending them because I was like, I bet Justice is quite nice, and Mackenzie was pretty awesome.
Trust me, they are better at their job than you are at yours.
Yeah,
so.
They're very good. Anyhow, the point is, the people I've been meeting and people I know there, it's a subtle but important difference. And I deal with Fortune 500 companies my whole life. I've worked with banks. I've worked with you name it. All right, I've worked with Disney, and there's a subtle difference between working with the people who give a shit and the people who are there just to represent the company or make money. Okay. I'll give you an example. I was in the room where it happened, where this is way back in the 90s, where we were negotiating with Microsoft with Bankers Trust. And they were like, the guy literally was like, we could take and never forget, he's like, I could take a box, a white empty box, put the word Microsoft on it and sell 1 million of them. And I was like, God, the fucking hubris on this guy is wow. Because that's not the good guy. Like, that's not the guy you want to work with, right? And that was who we were working with, by the way. And they were hardballing Bankers Trust, which was at the time not a small company. It was like, wow, these two huge companies going up against each other, and Microsoft is bullying this $1 billion company. And it was fascinating to watch that when I was like 24 or something, watching this happen. The people I'm dealing with, they seem to get it. They love D&D. They play, they actually seem to care about the product. You haven't seen the new books, but like I have the new Arcana books. They're good. Like they redid the layout. The new adventure book is way
but
better.
Also,
than the others.
I mean, realize something here. Now, I can't speak for everyone here in chat, but if you're watching a Roll for Combat stream, you're probably a little bit more engaged than the typical gamer. You likely probably play systems that are other than D&D, which already puts you into a certain rarefied.
Yeah, you're in a minority from that. You probably are interested in the industry and the business of role-playing games too. So you're someone who has deeper insight into how these things work than someone who is just coming for beer and pretzels on the weekend with their friends and playing D&D.
And and so I guess what I'm trying to say is, it's not about you. Like it's just like it. You're in some ways they've already lost you. I mean, I'm not trying to like say that it's a bad thing, but like from a certain point of view, right? I don't own every single D&D book for 5th edition. I own some, but not all. But I own everything else. And so Wizards of the Coast is like, well, fuck. We could have gotten that guy's money and we didn't. So I mean, like they're not going to. I don't think there's anything wrong with 5th edition. Do I play it? No. In fact, tonight, Mr. Glicker and I are attending a session 0 for our Dungeons and Cabins extravaganza, and I'm in a very weird emotional space because number one, I don't think these people understand what a session 0 is because they've all already made their characters. I'm like, well, that kind of defeats the purpose of a session 0, by the way. And
there we go. My Dungeons and Cabins hat. No, they didn't make that. I kind of made characters too, I can change.
Number one, like watching these people talk, man, they are so excited about playing D&D, and I'm like, that'd be like me getting really excited about like, oh man, we're getting Domino's cheese pizza.
On. I get excited every time when I got us Domino's at Gen Con, don't say you weren't excited. Actually, that wasn't Domino's. That was Little Caesar. Yeah, you were excited.
If anything, I was excited because I'm like, man, it's been a long time since I've had mid-grade shitty pizza. It's nostalgic.
We were so hungry, and you were so tired.
So hungry.
You were like, yum, this thing is delicious.
We just got Little Caesars delivered or whatever we got it. Or when I walked in the door, you already. No.
You woke up from your nap, and you're like, and I was like, guess what? I got us some food. You're like, oh,
it was a quintessential nerd moment. We got done with Gen Con. I went back to the Airbnb. I took a nap. I'm at Gen Con. I took a nap. It's like later in the evening. I wake up just in time for Steven to get the delivery of Little Caesars pizza. I get fresh Little Caesars and breadsticks with soda, Mountain Dew, and then I'm firing up EverQuest on my laptop.
That is a blast. Fun. From like, that just seems like something that could have easily happened in the 90s or
100%, right? Early 2000s, right? For sure. Yeah.
It was fun.
Anyways, point is, I see these people and they are like so excited, about this opportunity to make a D&D character. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. I'm a jaded fuck, and quite frankly, like I want more and I expect more out of my game than D&D offers or delivers. And that's okay. That's okay. But I said it puts me in a weird spot emotionally because, I don't want to rain on anybody's parade,
Maybe
so anyways, my point is just that we're not the target audience for almost any of this.
Rekindle your love. Rekindle your love, your feeling. It's going to be like those movies where, it's like Stella got her groove back. It's going to be Derik got his groove back. He's going to go. He's going to play D&D. He's going to be like, oh, where have you been all my life?
It's not.
Wait,
it is not.
Derik is going to be the grumpy person in the Hallmark movie that doesn't believe in the power of holidays anymore.
Right. He doesn't believe in the power of D&D. And then he's forced to go to a camp where
he reawakens his love with.
Yes.
Right. And then I go back to my home campaign and I meet this folksy, down to earth girl, and she's just playing a bard, and I'm like, oh, well, so the joke, Ken, right? So like everyone's like, they're like, what are you gonna make there? Well, so for starters, I don't even know. Like,
we can talk about it next week. I think I know. I think I'm gonna make a paladin.
Okay. Secondly, like the joke was like,
Or dragon.
I was telling my Discord, I was like, well, at first I was like, well, guys, don't tell me what to make. We're doing a session 0. So then I go into our Discord that for our group, for our cabin, and everyone's already like, I've already made my character. I'm like, okay, well, never mind. This is going to be the shortest session 0 of all time.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
What is the point of a session 0?
No one made their character. I asked people who's made their character, and
everyone did.
No, they didn't.
We are the only 2 people who didn't post what we're making.
Where? I don't see it. No, they said here, I'm thinking of a druid or a wizard.
That means it's already made.
No,
Steven.
I'm also thinking. I'm thinking of like,
a druid or a
bullshit.
wizard. That's like 2 options. That doesn't mean it's already made.
Yeah.
No, he's lying.
No, I'm
Heads
not
up. I've already made a
here.
Path of the Beast Barbarian. I'm going to be a tankish brawler. I'm thinking of making a moon druid or a wizard with druid tendencies. Right on. I am a paladin, Oath of Conquest with a specialty in scouting. I'm working on a dragonborn sorcerer as we speak. The characters are made.
Well, they're thinking of it. We will.
That means they're made.
No, I've been thinking of it.
Some of those people made it.
I made my characters.
The person who said I made a Path of the Beast Barbarian
I made
definitely
several
made a Path of the Beast Barbarian.
So am I one of those people? I made
yes.
Okay.
Anyways, so the point is that I go into a session 0 complete.
Oh.
Now someone said it in chat, and I tend to agree with it, which is that 5th edition is all about power fantasy, and I think that's a certain amount of I think there is a certain amount of that. But I think there's a certain element of 5th edition which is just trying to service the desire for you to like just create these OC characters that you can live your dreams through. But digressing. Point is,
Beowulf in chat is wondering why this is even happening. So I, as an outside observer, will explain.
Okay.
What happened is that Steven saw that there were slots open and just bought a thing for himself and Derik without asking Derik, and now Derik has to go.
Correct.
Yes, but Derik is going to make bank because we're going to torture Derik the whole time we're in LA. We're going to stream it, and you guys have to go to Knights of Last Call, and we will vote on things. And you guys pay my money for him to do horrible things, and he's going to make lots and lots of money. To
further explain it, last year or something, Steven met Sammy Glicker because people assumed that they were related. And
her father's name is Stephen Glicker.
Right. It turned out Sammy had started running this program out of LA called Dungeons and Cabins, which was basically adult summer camp for nerds. And you go into the woods north of LA for an extended weekend and play D&D.
And we have color war, and we make s'mores.
Yes. Listen, for those of us who weren't, rich or Jewish or rich and Jewish, I've never been to summer camp. Okay.
Well, that's why I got it for you. So you could have the summer camp experience you always meant to have.
So Mark T's explanation is Derik is a gloomy guy. So negative experience joy.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Joy brings me pain. I can feel it in my, it's like arthritis in my soul.
That's why this is going to be the most fascinating experience. I guarantee he's going to love it. He's going to love it. He's going to hate that he loves it, but he's going to love it.
You know me. Look, Steven puts these things together. So most of the time I don't even look. I just hop into the chat. I was literally in the Zoom call and I didn't have the video chat open. So I didn't even know there was a third person because she was pretty quiet. I didn't even know there was another person on the call. And suddenly I'm like, oh, hello, who is this person? So anyways, we start the live stream and Steven's like, oh, how's it going? She's like, oh, it's doing great. We actually sold out immediately now. The thing is really taken off. Our summer camp program, we do 6 or 8 weeks in a row throughout the course of the summer in the early fall. And, and then Steven's like, oh, she's like, yeah, we only have a couple spots left in the one. And Steven's like, a couple spots left? We're going. And I was like, wait, what's happening? And then I get a thing in Discord where I get like my confirmation number. And he's like, I've already signed us up. And I was like, what is happening?
Oh my God, I'm so much fun. We're going to hang out with Jess. We're going to see, you are going to see my brother. We're going to see Spencer Stark and maybe other people. Dude, you're going to have a great time.
So Danny Glicker is showing up after all?
Yes, he's going to be at the premiere of Being Human from the 9th to the 13th. But then on the 14th, we're going to go hang out with my brother. So. And then Spencer and Spencer on the same day.
And so, so it's, and then, God bless them. But like, they were like, what is going on? So God bless them that they were like, they're like, oh, it's so great we've got this adventure, and the story is so good, and we've been working on it and writing it for the last year, and it's this carefully crafted experience, and everyone's going to be so excited to see all the amazing things that are going to happen. And immediately I'm just like, this is everything I hate about adventures. The last thing I want is a canned experience on rails.
Payback for making me play that Oath game there.
Okay. You know what? That was like a 2-hour Oath game. It was like one of the shortest Oath games of all time.
You learned your lesson. You don't screw with me.
You were on your phone the whole time, which I don't
blame
you.
Horrible.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. But I would like to point out, though, okay, we're on tangents and tangents here. If you had won one of those 2 battles, you would be talking about that as the greatest game of all time.
No,
where you
I would not have talked about that.
No, where you threw down Jess's regime, where you threw down her chancellordom, and you instituted a new Glicker world order.
He definitely would be. I'm with Derik on this.
He would be on the stream.
Steven does a come from behind victory when he's been beaten on and crushed on by unfair things of the game throughout the whole thing, but he wins anyway at the end. Then he's like, this is awesome. It's so cool that it allowed for this.
Yeah, well,
but
it didn't happen.
When the chances were there,
matter.
but he doesn't do it, then he's mad afterwards. And I don't think that that's a problem with Steven. It's actually a very human thing to do.
Well, it's a human thing. It's also, I think, a part of the big problem. Well, this is a meta concept about like how RPGs have evolved, right? Which is everyone wants that fight to be the odds are stacked against us, but we won anyways. Okay, yeah, but if every fight is that, you're going to lose a lot, you know?
The other problem is with competitive games, because if there's several people who are like Steven, then they're not all going to be happy.
Right.
At the end of the game.
Well, the idea of Oath is that it's not fully competitive, right? It's as much about the experience as it is about winning. But I digress. Point is,
I just have to say that the games that claim they're competitive but not competitive, or it's like it's cooperative but also one person won, are the ones that sometimes annoy me the most, because it's like either
that's what this was.
Oath
it's cooperative but one
game.
Person wins. It's like,
Oath
well, then it's not fucking cooperative.
Yeah, Oath is definitely that game.
Right.
100%.
Right.
But what I would argue the difference is in Oath, like a role-playing game, is that what you do in the game carries forward into the next game. And into the next game. So you may lose the game, but you may have made a mark on
Amazing. No one gives a shit. So Derik is going to play a warlock, and his warlock patron are his KLC patrons, and he has to paint his nails again and take short words. That's what you're going to do.
Play having your patrons be your patron is going to be hilarious.
Right. And then as people give you money while we're playing, you can get bonuses and booms, and we will have you actually... So you will pray to your followers, your patrons.
And that'll determine his spells, right? Because they'll pick his patron, and the warlock will pick his spells, and it's actually his patrons or his patron.
Yes. This way, you hate playing? Good. You don't have to play. You will leave it up to the masses to play for you.
What would you say?
It's actually pretty good.
What is the conglomerate
by the way,
personality?
By the way, was one of our Oath.
Oh, but Derik, what is the conglomerate personality of the KOLC channel? As a whole, would you say?
Troll / make Derik suffer.
Oh my god, it's gonna be so much fun.
So then your patron would be like some kind of like a trickster, like a malicious trickster patron who's there to use.
I like the idea that it's like a pantheon of extra-worldly beings from some.
Well, maybe it's a malicious trickster that is a conglomerate of multiple beings.
We'll discuss it in the session zero.
Yeah, there you go. See what all the other players think about that, because if the other players aren't really happy, that's what session 0 is for.
Right.
Like, it might not be fun if everyone's like, well, we don't really want to do this. Well, your patron's doing that. But if they all think it's awesome, then you can do it.
Is that like my idea of what a good role-playing game session is probably completely anathema to what most people's idea of a good role-playing, including the game master, by the way.
Well, that's why we'll see. You know what? Just have an open mind. Some of it is gaming. We're actually going to have a lot of fun.
Extremely open-minded person.
No, you're not.
I just know what I like.
Well, I know what I like, but I'm still open-minded. We have another super chat.
No.
To have a conversation.
You are a content whore. You consume content.
I do. What's wrong with that?
And I don't.
Okay. That's nothing wrong with that. I can't wait to have a conversation
I didn't think there was.
With a player that no, you can't play Chewbacca Jedi Knight in my campaign and then have him come back. What about Yoda Battlemaster instead?
That is a super chat from Garhent, probably about the Star Wars D&D stuff, which maybe will help us go back slightly more on topic about whether or not you trust
we really went off topic.
D&D and WoTC right now, because Steven's diatribe about video game businesses kind of took us into a rabbit hole for a long time. So let's move back into it.
Going back into how they're gaining trust by giving out free stuff and they're actively going out to gain trust by a combination of literally talking to people, trying to come off their high horse. Because it feels like a lot of these video game companies, okay, when you used to go to E3 and go to these gaming shows, you used to be able to talk to the people who actually made the game. And then, well, now E3 doesn't exist and you can't. There's like no way to actually get in touch with them. And it feels like, strangely, everything is sealed off more than it's ever been. But now... It seems like they're making overtures to regain trust. Exactly.
That doesn't mean you should trust them. That doesn't mean you do trust them.
That's
but
why
it means
it's a
they're
question.
At least trying. They're extending out an olive branch in some ways, or at least they're trying to do things that they hope will make you trust them.
Okay, now people say they're a corporation. I tend not to trust corporations. That's what Tim Johnson wrote. Guess what?
And we said that at the beginning of the episode.
Me and Mark, we're a corporation. Do you trust us?
We're not a corporation.
Yes, I am. I'm a corporation.
You and I together are not a corporation. You're a corporation and I'm a corporation. We're separate.
Right. Okay. We're both corporations. Do you trust
I am a one-person corporation.
And I'm a one-person corporation. So is Derik. So you have three corporations here.
We've already covered this, Stephen. We've covered this.
No, this guy asked us. I was asking if you trust us.
We covered, you can trust one-person, single-member corporations that are just the single person that you already trust that person. But a publicly traded company where they can just replace everybody, like Steven, it seems like your thesis is, since they replaced all the people who made the really nasty and grody decisions
they did
during the OGL, that means you can trust them as a company. And my thesis that I think Derik agrees with, but I don't want to speak for him on this, is that the fact that they could do that and could do it again to put in something that is worse is why you can never truly trust a company. But you could say that you trust Dan Ayub. Or you could say that you trust Justice and Mackenzie and Amanda and the people who are working on the books, right? Because there are a lot of people at WoTC who, as individual people, are worthy of trust. But as a publicly traded company, like Derik said, a person who wants to be a good person, who wants to do right by their colleagues, sometimes is going to do things that is what the company wants them to do that might, as customers, you might be like, oh, well, I don't like that they did that. But they did that like to help their coworkers or for the company when the publicly traded company was trying to make a profit for the shareholders.
So Beowulf said, are we ever going to try D&D, try new things, break away from Sacred Cows, 20 levels?
The answer is no.
The answer is of course they will.
Well, they won't now because they don't need to, because that's why they
break away from 20 levels, Sacred Cows, class, Vancian Magic. Yeah, they did that. 30 levels. No Vancian Magic. Completely different game. How well was that regarded by the community?
Yeah, the Sacred Cows are part of what a lot of the built-in community are looking for. And the problem is you could say that
required an attack roll in this version of the game, and people lost their fucking minds.
Yeah. So you could say, well, maybe some of the Sacred Cows we can take out, but not others. But the problem is the ones that you think are okay to take out, there's somebody else out there who thinks those are the ones you could never take out. And they think they want to take out the ones that you think are the ones that you can never take out. So
there's no such thing as average. Average is like, it just doesn't exist because everyone's like, I want this. Well, I won't want that. Well, I want this. I don't want that. Everyone has their thing. Everyone has their thing. That's why the trust is important, because look, it's like, you might not trust, if you trust the people running it and you're like, okay, do I agree with them X amount? Like, what's the percentage? It's like, okay, they're not doing no one does everything perfectly, but I trust that they do more things better than they don't, if that makes sense. Because you will never have a game of D&D that does not have those things. Again, they just won't. They'll never do it. And if they did, they won't do it they'll either add it as a third-party add-on, or someone else will come up with it and let them, jump in that, river.
The other thing too is like,
Hmm.
I don't know what the average age of people here is, but like when you were playing D&D, say in the 90s, if you were during second edition, like, were you aware of how horribly and badly mismanaged TSR was being run? How Lorraine Williams was fucking everybody over? How people were getting paid nothing? By the way, the people who work at Wizards of the Coast paid very well. Exceptionally well.
Yeah, they are.
They pay insanely well.
Insanely well.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even appreciate
quite
how
well.
insanely well until I talked to some people who even, independent, contributors who were like, yeah, it was like a half a year's worth of money from like my normal projects, right?
Yeah.
But like, TSR was brutal. They were litigious. They were doing all sorts of weird shenanigans with financial things and selling books on commission that they never produced. And they were literally printing books that were shovelware just because they had an obligation, because they had already sold the books in advance.
Yeah.
But then they were contractually obligated to deliver a product. So they would literally just like throw together books in like a week just so that they had something they could ship.
So I will raise my hand and admit I had no idea about any of that.
Right, neither did I.
I like to think that as a teenager, or not quite teenager for some of the 90s or whatever, I like to think that I knew more about what was going on than the average person, just by dint of the fact that I tried to look at the names of the people who wrote the books and know who they were to any degree, which almost none of my friends did at all. And most of the people I knew, they didn't know anything. They just played, right?
Like,
and I had no idea about any of that until afterwards.
Correct. Neither did I. And like nowadays, it would be like, a Planescape book would come out or something, and like, or a whatever book would come out, and people would be bitching. They'd be like, "Oh, I can't believe we got another Dark Sun release. Oh, I don't even play Dark Sun. What are we gonna do with this? Why can't I use?
It's like, oh my god, we got the 30th release, and I only like 20 of them this year. Oh, why do I keep doing these releases that I don't like? Why aren't all 30 out of 30 what I want to play?
Right, directly for me. They should make everything generic." And they did that. It was called third edition.
I guess
what I'm trying to say is like, at no point was Wizards of the Coast particularly well managed or run. I would say it was probably, in my opinion, at its high watermark of professionalism and a quality team that was well staffed with a lot of exciting releases. You know what I'm going with this. It was during this era, okay? And everyone hated it. So like, I mean.
Yeah, they were still, they had like,
no.
They were better.
Would you agree with this? Would you agree that for its size in the industry, that the 5th edition team is incredibly small?
Now? No.
I'm saying like getting bigger, but now they were big. But they were actually like
10 years ago, they were one person. So yes, they were literally one person. So yes,
correct. Whereas like when D&D 4E, when it like dropped, there were like 20 full-time people working on D&D.
Right. Yeah. But it was also a very different time back then. Because back then, if a book sold 20, 30, 50,000 copies, that was considered a smash hit.
Now, it's interesting, too. It's interesting, too, because let's take a step back real quick. Because Real Neutromancer says 4E was a wild garden. Agree, it was. But would you not argue that today, if you, and Stephen, you're a publisher. Yes. Mark, you're an author. Would you agree that there is still a walled garden today, and it's called D&D Beyond? Yes. If your book is not on D&D Beyond, you're basically kind of ice skating uphill.
It's definitely tricky, but we have advantages that other people don't.
Okay, but I'm just saying, like, if you can't get your product, like the products on D&D Beyond are inside the garden.
Yes, they got smart. Instead of doing the OGL, they made a big garden, and they get to decide.
That's what Stephen had been saying they should have done the whole time. Just use a carrot instead of a stick.
Yes,
which now they're doing.
Well, they learned their lesson, and they made a better decision.
Yeah. They are, but no, it's true.
And people love D&D Beyond.
Yes, they do.
They love it.
And what's fascinating, guess what? Everyone's making their own D&D Beyond, because
I know they are. Free League is making their own.
You fucking the Free League. Have you seen it? It's literally made
it's made by the people who made D&D Beyond.
Yes, I know.
They hired the team.
Yeah, I know. And it's exactly the same. And in fact, he is. If you what's his name? I saw an interview with him, and he said they did the Free League website in 3 months. And he says, when they did D&D Beyond, it took them years to do that. And it's like, it only took us 3 months. And I'm sitting there going, and 2 people. I'm like, yeah, you and I know how they were able to do that in 3 months with 2 people. And the site looks
2 people and
fucking
ChatGPT.
amazing. Right, exactly. I'm like, they don't say the part out loud that no one wants to hear, but I'm like, yeah, that the whole site's written with AI. I hate to break it to you. It's like, but and it looks fantastic. Right, Bradford. It looks Adam Bradford. It looks great. I actually looked at the site. I was like, holy shit, the site looks good. It's like really, really nice. And I know many other companies, I can't say who, are coming out with their own versions that are going to look just like that. Hell, I'm looking at it myself. Yeah, everyone is.
For the 10 millionth time, and I've talked about this before, but you have to realize that from that OGL, right? If you read between the lines, OGL was a way for Wizards of the Coast to allow people to make products that they themselves would not produce because there was no money in it, but were still essential to the game's success. Things like adventures.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't want to make adventures. They didn't want to sell books that would only be bought by the game master because there's no money in that. They'd rather make the Splat book or whatever, or a monster book that a lot of people tend to buy. And they rather make these big marquee products that are bought by everyone and universally beloved. But you still need this ecosystem. But the problem was the OGL was too open. And people started basically carbon copying the 3rd edition rules and making their own version of the game that did not require you to buy anything from Wizards of the Coast. The whole point of OGL was that, in fact, written in a book that I played without ever using any of the OGL or any of the D&D products, like something like Mutants Masterminds up here. You don't need D&D books to run that, but in the back of that book is a copy of the OGL, which basically says, like, you are required to own the core player's book and the dungeon master, from the core, from the game.
Dude, I
or
put
whatever.
the OGL in all my I know exactly what it says.
And no, you didn't. No, you didn't. If you just played Mutants and Masterminds, or you just played Pathfinder 1, you didn't have to buy anything from D&D.
Well, mine, it doesn't say you have to buy. It's the OGL just says where its copyrighted material comes from. And
I'm just saying, like, it backfired. It backfired.
But did it backfire?
No,
I think so.
No.
Did it?
You know what?
No.
I think that their real goal was to create a giant ecosystem of thought.
Well, they did, but they didn't have a way to monetize
D20
it.
based and similar
but
to
they
D&D.
didn't have a way to monetize it, Mark. Because what they did is they created an ecosystem that then fed upon their sales.
Yes and no.
But did it?
No,
I think it did.
Because at the time, there were a lot of non-D20 based RPGs
successful
that were
as
doing
they say
well.
it was, why did they create the GSL?
Because they were so they were so ahead of their time. By
the way, I'm basing this on stuff that Ryan Dancy has said.
I
on your
completely
show.
understand. No, I agree, because they thought they were thinking too small, because they didn't see the forest of the trees. They saw only profit and lost profit.
Yeah, they were greedy for even more profit.
Very, 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 very common for companies where all they see is the lost sales and completely ignore all the existing sales, because they always think, well, we did the existing sales and nobody else, like no one else is responsible for that. And it's like, well, really? Like the OGL and just having other people making adventures and opening them up to it, that's not responsible. That's very short-sighted of you. And you're not going to say Stranger Things and now, and it's Critical Role and all these, they're not responsible. Like, you are responsible for every single thing. No.
So the thing about this, if you haven't been in business, but you want to see the same psychological effect that Stephen is talking about, you play role-playing games, you watch this channel, it's the same people who play the damage dealer and completely ignore the role of the bard who was buffing them, or anybody else who was doing other support things, that are just like, no, look at me, I'm the one who did this damage. And meanwhile, the bard made a bunch of their attacks hit that wouldn't have been hits otherwise, and all these other things. This is very, very common at RPG companies. I'm sure at other companies too, where they will just completely ignore the effects that something that adds to marketing or that gives benefits that are not an obvious sale, and they will discount it and it will bite them.
Well, it's soft power versus hard power, and this is actually why people fucking love like Facebook, like this is the secret of why Facebook and Google and Anthropic and all these other companies are doing amazing, because they actually give them finally give them insight to soft power that they've never been. Derik, you fucking did that for a living. Your whole thing was like giving people insight into soft power. Like you've told me stories about that, right? Like insight into like, remember you said you would be like set up things where you would watch like warehouses to see when orders would come in, things like that, when in your old job. You know what I'm talking about?
Also, there was a super chat, but Derik answered the person in the text, so I think we're good on that one.
Are you Derik? I finally get to watch you live.
Frozen because his hand is just on his chin.
Oh, no, he's not frozen. He's not. Are you doing Hope and Fear? Are you doing Hope and Fear tonight? Is what they asked.
No, I got to do session 0.
Tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow. Oh, tomorrow.
No, tomorrow I'm doing Hackmaster 25th.
Right. Yeah, don't worry. Session 0.
No. I mean, Hope and Fear officially released Tuesday, and they also updated the CGL. So.
Did they really? Finally?
Well, they did.
They
updated
so
enough?
Dramatic?
No, well, people still aren't happy, obviously. So, I mean, because speaking of financials,
yeah.
So basically, the CGL, that's the Community Gaming License, by the way. That's the OGL of Daggerheart. Basically says that now they're like, look, you can make stuff now, and you don't have to worry about
sell your soul to us.
You can sell or whatever. But then there's a clause which basically says that you can't sell anything that would go onto a VTT.
Right.
And people are like, well, that's a tantamount to these days to basically saying you can't make a product.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Couldn't anything go onto a VTT?
Yes.
Oh, you could do it for free, Mark. But if you want to make money, no.
Oh, you can't do a paid module,
correct.
Essentially.
Yeah.
That's pretty rough. A lot of people I know like to play Daggerheart on VTTs.
They have taken a very strong stance in protecting their like there's a VTT whitelist, and it's very they're very restrictive.
Oh, I see. So they do have a whitelist, and that's where the VTT stuff is from.
The product.
Yeah, it says sharing on whitelisted VTTs. So it's got to be a whitelisted VTT. Sharing on whitelisted this is from sections 1.9.1. Whitelisted virtual tabletop programs. Sharing on whitelisted VTTs is permitted solely for non-commercial purposes and may not be monetized in any form. This includes, without limitation, selling access, charging subscription fees, paywalling content, or soliciting donations tied to access or use. So even if you have like a coffee link, right? No bueno.
I wonder why they're
so if you write and sell a book of new classes, you can do that. And you can put that on DriveThruRPG or whatever. Okay. But you can't then provide a download link for VTT support.
No.
Wait, I think maybe could you do that if you also made the download of the VTT thing free? But then again, people might just take the free VTT
Well, if it's
download.
free, if you bought it.
No, I'm saying if you made it free for people, whether or not they bought it, and the purchase page also had a link to an already hosted free version of it that everyone could have.
Now, a bunch of people. No, I'm not a lawyer. I am not a lawyer. But somebody said, they were interpreting it, and they're like, so it's not about selling VTT content because I sold my book. I cannot even add that book into a VTT because monetization happened with the book sale. That's how people are interpreting it. But yeah.
Well, it could be that they either signed an agreement that was a bad agreement and they're screwed.
Well,
and they can't do it.
I mean, look, you know me. I love Daring to Press, and I like the Daggerheart people, and I like the game. But I think Demiplane is like, and Roll20 are like the worst fucking things in the fucking world.
Well, they might have signed something and now they're screwed. Or
they don't want. Yeah,
they don't want anyone to.
I mean, the fact that there's a whitelisted VTT thing, I think, is already just terrible. It's like,
I've never even heard of that before until now. Although, to be fair, I see advertisements for VTTs I have like never heard of. And there's a lot of them. I was like, it's like there was a time where there was no VTTs. Now there's like 20 I've never ever heard of out there.
It's actually kind of a toxic trait, which is these companies who are all about like community support, and they're like, it's all about communities, you know. And by the way, and I'm talking about games that I love here. And they rely on volunteers making free content to support their game and the way that thousands, if not maybe even the majority of people engage with that game. You know, I'm talking about.
I know who you're talking about. So you're specifically talking about Pathfinder and
I'm talking about Fabula Ultima.
And Fabula Ultima. Well,
I mean, I'm talking about a lot of games.
Yeah, and you know what? They get away with that.
I think it's bullshit.
I think it's bullshit too. They get away with that because I don't know why they do it. I mean, I'll be honest.
Well, they do it because they can do it. Because in my personal opinion,
they are taking to pay to have that updated.
It's not that expensive. I do it.
But Steven does it.
Steven does it. I'm not saying those other companies can't.
He's a good man for doing it. And a smart man.
I pay for. I'm like, so literally, I got the guy doing Shadowdark who's going to write the Foundry module for Deathbringer. And I'm paying him. I mean, I'm sure someone would have come out with their own Deathbringer.
Someone would have done it. Exactly.
I want to own it.
That's one thing I really respect about Steven.
Jesus.
And the way that he does that. He pays them and he keeps it updated.
Yeah,
that's not nothing to keep it
more
updated.
than anything else. That's the key. That's the key. Because, you know, God knows Foundry updates all the time. It's like, okay, so now you have a volunteer organization who did all this work, and people are in their fucking DMs and in their Discords and in Reddit, and they're
harassing them, being like, "Why isn't it updated?
Right? Why isn't it updated? Why is it?" It's like,
my own players do that to me.
Like you're like, this is a volunteer group. Yeah, you know.
Well, it was volunteer,
and so for Daggerheart in their CGL to say, even soliciting donations is prohibited.
Yeah, because they don't want any way to get around that to make money.
Right. So they're basically like, no. You should definitely work for us for free. For the love of the game. Yeah. To build community.
Yeah. It also could be that they didn't expect to make this much money. And now it became, I mean, they didn't. They didn't expect this to be a huge hit. And now they're like.
You know, it's a good thing that a lot of TTRPG nerds are fucking IT nerds, is what I'll say.
Well, it is. And that's actually, I'll tell you one of the secrets.
Or maybe it's bad. I don't know.
Wait, no, it is. Because so almost everyone I talk to in the TTRPG industry, almost none have technology backgrounds. Mm-hmm. The only reason I even managed to get away with this is A, I have a massive technology background, and B, heck, I help program the Foundry modules myself. Not a lot, but I go in there and fix things up. And I usually do the CSS, and I think they don't do it because they just don't know. I mean, technology is a fucking black box, man. If you don't know technology, it's like you don't even know how to get started on the Foundry modules or Roll20 or any of these modules. It's a nightmare to and you got to trust someone completely to do this. It's a ton of work. It's
no. I don't
blame them.
Yeah, all I'm saying is I just think that's just, I think that's just crazy.
But also keep in mind, a couple years ago, no one saw where this was going. I'll give you a good example. Like I was watching another one. I watched these. I always told you I always watched the rise and fall of these companies, and the fascinating one was BW3, Buffalo Wild Wings. Out a couple years ago, they were like the hottest stock on Wall Street, and now they're not. They're not even close. It's because they thought when they came out in the 80s and 90s, they were like, okay, we are going to put huge plasma TVs, which cost $6,000 per TV. And we have 50 of them in our place. We have a place where people will go and eat wings, which are unhealthy, and drink beer, which is bad for you. And we have these huge footprints and we pay a lot in rent. And they thought that will never change. Okay. And it didn't in the 80s. It didn't in the 90s. It actually didn't in the 2000s. And also chicken, by the way, is so cheap. Chicken is so cheap. They actually give it away for free. Costco gives out chicken for free. Basically, the way it works is, so my friend Chris Beamer works for Costco. Depending on like how much money you spend on other food, they give you free chicken. Like that's how cheap chicken is. So they're like, we literally get it. We get hundreds of pounds of chicken just by buying Costco cleaning supplies. And that's completely true. So they were like, what a great model. Fast forward to now, where COVID pretty much killed people going out to dinner like that. Everyone has a huge TV and doesn't need to go anywhere. People are more healthy now, and especially this next generation, than ever before, and they don't eat wings, and they don't want to eat shit. In fact, everyone is super healthy and eating incredibly well for like the first time in God knows how long in America.
And when I was in Vegas, we went to BW3.
No, that's so funny. I still love BW3. But the point is, and chicken is fucking expensive now. And so they are just riddled with things that they quote would always be. And a good example is people will always be buying books. Like books will never go away. People have been buying books for, 600 years. That will never go away. Well, guess what? It's fucking going away. Okay. And it's like, and it's being taken over by things like VTTs and
it's funny that you say that though, because like I'm dipping my toe into the world of making a book, and I was going to make it digital only,
right?
And then everyone's like, no, you got to print it.
Well, because you're in a because your audience is so small. You see, you have an audience of a couple thousand people, so you literally have to listen to them because those people are the ones that are going to support you.
I guarantee you this: like, I probably personally know or will recognize
everyone
like by name, like at least like 75% of my backers.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah. Right. Like,
right. That's what's going to happen. But a company like Wizards, they're appealing to the masses, and the masses, they're printing the books, but in their own financial reports, they're like, yeah, that's the vast minority. It's not even a minority. It's the vast minority, and it's becoming smaller every day. It's becoming very small. And, that's just the way it is. Anyhow, the point is that VTTs, I was playing for VTT. I've been playing now for 13, 14 years. There was no VTTs out, and they were garbage. And then all of a sudden, if you're not in a VTT, and the thing with Paizo, they had to be kicking. We call it kicking and dragging to the money tree is what we call that in business. They were kicking and dragging to the money tree because they're like, we don't want a VTT. We just want books. We just want books.
And so when Steven says Paizo, to be clear on this one, because just like we were talking at the beginning, do you trust the company? Do you trust the people in it? There were many people at Paizo who wanted to do the VTT, but top decision makers were against it.
Nope.
And it actually took the successful Roll for Combat Foundry modules and my giving that data with Steven's blessing to some of the pro Foundry people at Paizo to bring to those meetings and be like, this is what you're leaving on the table. They got that many people to back with Foundry, and you could too, to get them dragged kicking and screaming. If it hadn't been for RFC, it's possible it would have taken longer, or that Paizo would have said no to that. And now that's a lifeline for Paizo.
Yeah.
Like, all the bad things that are happening to Paizo, if they didn't have Foundry, they'd be in big trouble.
Yeah, much worse.
You could even say that weird chain of events that led to things from RFC helping them with Foundry, like, helped prop up Paizo from all of what happened here.
Yeah. I did hear through the grapevine when they put Kingmaker on for Foundry, they made so much money they thought it was a mistake. they're like, what? They couldn't believe how much money they made on that. So
that's funny. But yeah, like obviously too, arguably the majority, it seems like the majority of the money for Draw Steel went into making codex.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they were just like, we're going to do our own custom VTT so that it can play our game exactly, not just some generic framework system that we have to then work around all of their, updates and loops. And
Steven told them not to do it. We'll see if they have the last laugh on him.
They did. I was stunned. Well, they have to keep it up and maintain it, and obviously, we'll see how long it lasts because
we'll see.
It's like
Crows is going to support it,
right?
And that's doing quite well.
That's Crows doing okay, but the point is that if they continuously make money and put out products to support,
listen to this motherfucker. He gets $1 million plus Kickstarter,
them,
and suddenly he's like, Crows is at $931,000.
Yeah, for them that's garbage. They make $4 million.
They're doing okay.
No, because they make $4 million a Kickstarter. That's their least. It is doing okay.
When they were doing D&D shit.
Well,
no, but even with their own Draw Steel stuff, they usually make more. Yeah. This is still a great success. It's just low for them.
It's the lowest they've ever done. So, touche.
It's still a great success.
I didn't say it is.
But
they
it's
have
not good. It's not what they can reach with the height of their fan base sometimes.
They have the record for the most number of $1 million Kickstarters. I think they have 5.
Where Evil Lies, the MCDM book of boss battles for 5e did 344,000.
Okay. What about the 5 others that did $1 million? It's not just $1 million, but usually 4 or 5 million.
Strongholds did 2.1 million.
Yeah.
Kingdoms did 1.3 million.
Yeah.
Flea Mortals did 2.0 million.
Yeah. Keep going.
Steel did 4.6.
Oh, and what about Crack the Sun?
2.6.
Okay, there you go. So that's 6. Okay, you can see, that's what I'm saying. This is actually quite low for them. Not for humans, but for them. This is actually their second lowest.
It's also, though, Crows doesn't have like the high tiers.
Well, it doesn't have the high tiers, and to be honest, I don't know.
Like, it's got 5,000
I don't want to get anyone in trouble.
by the way.
It does, but this is the thing. I was talking to BackerKit, and the day it launched, they didn't even know it launched. Like, I was like, and they're working with them. That's how little they pre-announced this, like 0. Like, they just were like, oh yeah, it's out. And
honestly, that's very impressive result given that they did so
you're
little.
100% right, but
it just shows how strong their brand is that they don't even have to do any of that, and they probably saved a lot of money on advertising from doing it that way.
I'm not planning on doing much marketing for my situation.
Then you're gonna get
Steven, I'm not saying that they wouldn't have made more by paying for advertising, but they probably did save money on advertising there.
No, they didn't, because you get a times X, so they probably would have because they get like a 4x return usually.
No, yeah, Steven, I didn't say they wouldn't have made more money if they did spend on advertising.
Okay,
they probably would have.
But the point is, they just dropped it, and that is wrong. You did like. Maybe 5-6 years ago, you could do that. You need at least a 6 to 8 week lead time. And they didn't even do that. It just came. And I'm like,
so
I love that they marched to the beat of their own drummer, man. They just do whatever they want.
Yeah, I bet you they never do that again.
Stephen Perry super chatted, I don't trust owning a license anymore now. I think that might be with respect to licenses for things in BTTs. I'm not sure what that's for.
Well, that's everything, because everything is becoming a license. And the problem is... it's
Are we talking like a driver's license? Like
no.
I mean, like having a license to your product, but you don't really own it.
You don't own any products now. Like if you buy any games now. So the big thing in games, they said Sony's not going to make discs anymore. And every game that you now buy from Sony, it literally says in the EULA that this is a license to the game and you do not own it.
Right. So it could be revoked.
Right. Or just it can be revoked or stopped or working at any time because you don't own it.
Of physical media.
It is the death of physical media. But we also live in an industry, in a world where everything has to be updated. Like I have tons of physical media and I guarantee that none of it works on my computers. Like, and yes, okay, I can go get an old computer and put Windows 3.1 on it and do all that. And yes, you have that option. And yes, it's beautiful that I can do that. But
don't you think it's a little disgusting, like when you think about like marketing and you think about like a movie and they're like, oh, the budget of the movie was $400 million. And it's like, well, it needs to make at least $1 billion. Why? Correct. Well, because their marketing budget was $500 million.
It's 2.5 is what it has to make. Correct. But because they have to make all their money in the first week. That's why. Movies didn't have to do that. You see, this is the thing. Before streaming and DVDs, the math was 1 or 1.5 because they could make back their money. They had two bites of the pie. They had.
Shouldn't that mean you should spend less money on marketing?
They did back in the day. No. So back in the day, they would have the movie come out and then they would have it on DVD, and DVD sales could last forever. So they had a very long tail with DVD sales. Now they have one shot. It goes out in the theaters. And that's it. And if it doesn't make money, they don't make any more money. And that's all they get. In fact, this is what's fascinating.
Do you think role play? I mean, I'm gonna posit that that's true for role playing games too.
Correct. Of course it is. Why do you think we all do Kickstarters?
I don't want to put words into anybody's mouth, but with the exception of certain games, which have become cultural phenomenons like Shadowdark.
Yes.
My guess is that most of these games are going to make 90% of the amount of money that they ever make.
Correct.
During that initial crowdfunding.
Yep. That's 100% true. Yeah. You make all your money. You got one shot, which is why everyone does billion-dollar movies.
But Steven,
you get one shot.
You make a lot on the long tail compared to the initial. But I think that's because
I advertise.
You have to admit, though, that up until recently, his model has been very different than most people's Kickstarter.
But also that like Steven supports things with the VTTs, and he is in for more than some creators are.
And I spend thousands in advertising every month. Does anyone else do that? Not really.
I don't know.
No, they don't.
I genuinely don't
Unless
know.
you're a board game. No, they don't. That's why. Because they literally come out with the game, they sell it, and then they're done. And then they go to some conventions. I am like, no, I come out with the game and then I advertise the shit out of it continuously. If you go
you're
on
also
Facebook,
unique because most people, and I know this now, most people, you go to their booth and they've got like one product.
Yeah, true.
You know,
true.
Whereas you go to Roll for Combat booth and there's too many products.
It's turning into a yikes booth. It's only going to get more yikesy in the future.
It's like going to Studio 2.
Oh, well, Studio 2 is, well, actually, a lot of people are on Studio 2. You know, funny thing, they never even asked me to join them. Like all those other companies.
They're like, we have everyone. We don't want you.
That's right. That was the whole thing. I was like, why aren't they asking me to join them? They never asked.
That was like the joke for Knights of the Last Call, how like we never gotten requested to do Raid Shadow Legends, and everyone's like,
I got Raid Shadow Legends. And I actually accepted it and then never ran them. Just because I was like,
they did eventually contact me, and I made it to a Patreon poll. I said, should I accept Raid Shadow Legends?
I accepted it. I just never ran it.
And I said, okay. And then
they kept bugging me. They're like, why aren't you running it? I'm like, because I just wanted to be accepted. I'm not going to actually do it. I just wanted to know you wanted me. I did download and play it. I was like, wow, this is shit.
And that's why you didn't get the sponsorship.
It's $500 for playing the game for an hour. I was like, really? That's not worth my time. So RFC is the farmer's market of TTRPG books and more. Yeah, we are the farmer's market. That's a good thing. Yes, it's gonna be an interesting.
Well, especially like
move.
I said, I'm so looking forward to when the Deathbringer books come in.
Oh, it's going to be a Deathbringer next to Eldamon. Next Squirrel
Deathbringer
Ash,
next to Eldamon.
next to Deathbringer. And it's going to be, you know what? That works. That's the secret.
You know what, Derik?
It totally
Remember
works.
when we were at the convention, was it PAX Unplugged, and that little girl, 4 or 5 years old, in the pink dress came up and was like, Deathbringer, that's my favorite. And she took the Deathbringer.
GaryCon. Remember the little girl at GaryCon? It was like 10. It's just like Deathbringer.
Well, there's a I took a picture of it. There's a zine. There's a zine company. And they make they've been around for a little while, and they make a there's a zine called Cozy Companion.
Yeah, I know that. I get advertisements.
And
I've never seen it, but I get advertisements to be in it all the time. What about it?
Anyways, so they have a but and then they did a that their booth though had their other and like they don't advertise them as being like they're through separate websites and everything.
Yeah.
But at Gen Con, they had them both in the same booth. They do 2 magazines. One's called Cozy Companion, and the other one is called like Grim and Dark. And like
right, that's what you do.
And I talked to them about it, and they're like, well, in our experience, there's only 2 things that sell in RPGs right now: cute and cozy, and like and they're like and board games. They do like all sorts of gaming.
Yeah.
They go cute and cozy, and grim and dark. It's like even in board games, it's either like, oh, you're planting your Japanese, you're doing your Ikebana arrangement with cute little chibi characters, or it's Kingdom Death Monster. It's like there's no in between.
That's
Everything
right.
is either grim and dark or cute and cozy. And then Roll for Combat, you go up to that booth, it's going to be black and white. Deathbringer, and it's going to be this massive guy with massive pecs, with a girl wearing very little clothes, with an axe dripping with gore, and then on the other side of it is going to be, a purple-haired girl with squirrel ash.
What's your problem?
Mark T says Derik needs XP to level 3 to advertise.
I actually am going to be advertising with XP to level 3.
Well, Mark, I'll tell you what.
They just wrote me today.
I will take all the money that I'm going to make as a profit from my book, and I will give it to XP to level 3, and that might cover his cost.
He's very expensive, but I will help
very
you with
expensive.
that.
He's extremely expensive.
He is quite expensive, but if
He's
you make the money
quite
back,
expensive.
it's fine. I will be helping you with the promotion. You have Jess doing an excellent job. I will help you with the promotion part because that is where I am good. And
I'm sorry. Yeah. By the way, the name of it's Cozy Companion and Grim Omen. Those are the
Grim.
two.
Oh, that is so great, and that is 100% accurate. And I went on both. Yeah. I did it without even knowing it because I also
so there you
know
go.
I know it sells. I know it sells.
But
I know
it's Grim Omen and Cozy Companion.
Yeah. But man, we have gone on a million diatribes. But I like this. I like that we're going all over the place on this one.
I mean, it's, when I'm on the show, anything goes.
Hey, Mark. By the way, did you see how we finished all the characters for Deathbringer, all the variants, and that was the last one. Now we have the female plague doctor. Look at that on the.
I thought you said
template.
the other plague doctor was already a female plague doctor.
Yeah, but I didn't have the art. Did you show? Look, it's up there.
Or no, like the original one was.
No,
You
that's
say-
male. Or that can be either, but this one is specifically. So, no, the art is, I guess she could be female, but the black one could be male or female, but the white one is specifically female. You can tell. She's wearing a skirt.
I see what you're saying here. Yeah, you told me the black one was gender neutral and could be male, female, or neither.
Could be whatever you want it to be.
And then the white one is more specifically a female plague doctor. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I actually think that one looks really cool.
Yeah, no,
I'm now seeing it. When you told me it was there, I looked in my chat and I was like, okay, it must be
it's
on the stream.
yeah, it's on the stream.
Yeah. I see it now on the stream.
And then I sent
That's
you
neat. I like that. That's one of my favorite character pieces that is a woman in Deathbringer.
high praise. You gotta loosen up, man.
I like it. I like it though. Seriously.
Wait, I can show you some of the others too.
Oh man, I'll tell you the worst experience. Well, I have a lot of worst experiences, but like the worst experience of my life has been.
There's so many worst experiences.
I know.
Where can you
They're all related
where
to
do you
Stephen
start?
Glicker. Was being hooked and giving him to be part of as a sponsor or whatever it's called. I don't know, a collaborator to his Deathbringer campaign. So I get all the emails.
Oh yeah, that happened to me too. I had to create
Oh, shut up. I removed you. I removed you.
Like the questions, like number one, obviously there's like the outrage and the rants, but then like the questions that people ask, I'm like, I'm not emotionally ready for this. You know, they're like,
well, you have
like, how many buttons does the jean jacket have? And I'm like,
you have to be prepared for that.
buttons?
When you better be ready because you're gonna get those when you do your Kickstarter. You better be
just
ready.
tell people to cancel their pledge.
No, you
Steven
won't.
just sent me 3 other ones and they're also good. I think that the character art is getting better. The new ones are better than the old ones.
Yeah, I know.
In my opinion. I think the artist is learning the style
Yes.
or something. I like all of these a lot better than the first ones.
No, we're getting better. I'm getting better.
Sweet.
Yeah. You know, by the way, the other thing too is like, for what it's worth, Foundry also has a problem. Well, I was thinking about you guys, which is because I was thinking about the booth and I was thinking about selling stuff and how we sell the Foundry modules at a substantial discount if you buy the book and at the conventions. But I was thinking about like Free League, and Free League has beautiful premium modules for Foundry, but they cost money, you know, it's $15-20 or whatever. And everyone I know that plays them, uses them, says worth every penny. But I also feel like there's a lot of people out there who, as customers, also somehow expect it to be free, right? So it's kind of like this. It's kind of like this: damned if you do, damned if you don't. They're like mad that like Paizo is like not. You know, they're like, I can't believe Paizo doesn't support it officially, and that they're just letting some other company or volunteers do it for free. But then you're like, okay, so you'd be willing to pay for it? And they go, well, no.
Well, okay. Actually, here's something that bothers me, and I'd be curious what your opinion of this is. If you buy, almost anyone does this. If you buy your book, you get the hardcover, you get the PDF for free.
Right.
Kobold, no. If you buy the PDF costs an extra $10. So if you buy any hardcover, you have to pay $10 more if you want the PDF.
I mean, I guess from my perspective, I don't like that, because the way I look at it is, what you were buying from me is the work itself, right? And once you own the work itself, I think you should have access to that work.
My issue is that I actually don't like that PDFs are less expensive than the hardcovers, or they're not less. They're a lot
they
less.
obviously have to be somewhat less expensive, Stephen, because the
Somewhat.
hardcovers are printed and sent
but
around the world.
Let me tell you, it's not okay. The standard right now is approximately, well, it used to be like really cheap, but now it's about, okay, if you have $60 for the book, you can get away with 25 to 30 for the PDF. Yeah, you know, I think it should really be like 40 at least for the PDF, because
go Crows, man, $50
well,
for
that's
the PDF.
The thing. Yeah, their
And what's
PDFs
the
are very
hardcover on
expensive.
Crows?
The hardcover is $120.
Yeah.
Okay, but so Derik, they didn't change the ratio then, because Stephen said that the
but
PDF is slightly
people
less
start
than
having
They're the
half.
only
epileptic
ones.
fits the moment your PDF is more than $9.99.
Yeah, they like.
I mean, no, but the industry standard is that it's like it's under half,
Well, it
right?
used
And
to
that's still
be.
true with 120 to 50.
Yeah, but it's starting.
Agreed, but they okay,
Not for Kindle
yes,
books.
it's doubled, but they
Kindle
also
books.
literally, they're also charging $120 for the hardcover,
Right.
which I think
Yes,
a lot
no, of
people
course,
also think
that's
that
what's
a lot of money.
different about it.
Right,
Is
right.
The $120
Well,
hardcover.
That's what's going to happen. You see, people don't realize that is that if you are going to make it that we are giving a discount on the low end, then we're just going to up the high end. Okay. And that's exactly what's happening. It's happening with Paizo. It's happening with everyone. Everyone's doing that, where it's like, okay, you want the PDF to be less? All right, well, then the hardcover's $70. You know, and they're like, well, I don't want to pay that. It's like, well, the PDF's 40, there you go. And they're like, well, that's not fair. It should be like 10.
Hell, the pledge manager access level is $10.
Gee, you see the balls on them. Damn. I've never seen that.
Normally that's $1.
It's $1. I know. I'm like, I have to admit, like, people when they're like angry if I do something, and I'm just like,
oh, you would get eviscerated. You would get crucified.
well, they get angry because I'm in the middle. I'm like,
you're in the middle, right?
I'm not.
No,
I'm
but
definitely
MCDM is way bigger than you.
Yeah, no, but
They're
I'm
way bigger.
I didn't know. I'm talking about how much I charge. Like, so when we charge on our Kickstarters, we're not the cheapest, but we're not the most expensive. But we're definitely not the cheapest, but on purpose, because I'm like, yeah, and also, I have a fucking 100, 200 pieces of art in all my things. Like, yeah, it's not cheap. Okay, like our Shadowdark books have like 650 pieces of art on them. Okay,
they have way more art than the official Shadowdark books.
So sorry.
Yes, Glenwyn, the $9.99 level includes the starter adventure PDF, but that's the type of thing that like everybody else just gives you for free. They're like, here's our intro quick start adventure so that you can learn our game. And they're like $10.
So there's a super chat that says, Stephen, are you talking about the race to the bottom PDF pricing or ? Why do you think the PDF prices are set where they are?
Because they started
I'll tell you
there.
why.
They started
because
there.
PDF used to be the minority.
Yes.
PDF was a bonus.
Right. It was a bonus. And
it was
they
just
started cheap because it was like, well, you want a PDF? $10, $5. Right. Like they just started it because no one was buying them.
Right.
And it was just,
and by the way, PDFs, right? It's what is it? Printable document format or whatever. Like for most of the time, when you're in InDesign, you can just hit file export as PDF. It basically just it's basically just the
more
book.
Complex than that, but yes.
I mean, yeah, there's probably better ways to do that, but that's what most people do. Well, and so it literally takes no extra work. And the model was all selling books. And then people are like, oh, you want it in a digital format? Yeah, sure, whatever.
Yeah.
So people are pointing out that the $120 is 4 books and the $50 PDF.
There's also, I think, a massive misunderstanding in most people's experience about the costs that go into making the game, but more importantly, the cost. And I say this as a person who's been very much illuminated. I did not know.
You're like, oh shit, this is expensive.
I did not know, especially when you're a bigger company like MCDM.
Yeah.
And you're talking about scale. Yeah. How cheap printing is.
At scale. But
scale is important.
I'll be right back.
Scale is absolutely important. But what I'm saying is, I'll give you a great example. And I'm guilty of this. This is me, before this YouTube channel started, which is people get mad at the PDF, that being expensive, because they say they're making free money. It's $0 cost, and they're making $35. They should be excited that we're buying the PDF. The company makes more money when you buy the book. The margin, the absolute margin, not the relative margin, the absolute margin is typically higher on the print.
Only if you buy it directly.
Yeah, I'm saying, okay, I'm talking
and because of the distribution channels and other things involved in
I'm not talking about the distribution model. I'm not talking about like
I understand. If we're talking about a Kickstarter where you got the book, the company does make more money from that. But there is a lot that goes into it. There are situations where they can get screwed over. I've heard of companies where the printer just like took their money and ditched and didn't do it.
Yes. But what I'm saying is if you go, okay, I'll give you a great example. If you go to this MCDM and you buy their digital, now granted, remember, they have costs. If you buy the PDF, okay, for $50, now granted, remember, whether it's getting printed or getting digitized into PDF, a lot of work, the art, the writing, everything had to go into that. So there's a cost there for sure, but that's a fixed cost. But if you go and buy, so now they've done all that work. If you go and buy the PDF, you will be giving them $50 for that. If you go and get the hardcover set, which is $120, you might be thinking, oh, MCDM makes more money on the PDF. I don't think so. Because the PDF, they're making $50. Remember, that we're assuming that all the costs that went into making it are, that's
so now cost. We're only going to pay the printing costs, the shipping costs,
shipping, tariffs, all that
tariff cost, etc.
Let's say very generously, and I think it would be lower than this, by the way. Let's say that printing these hardcovers and shipping them to you costs $30. That means that they make $90 of actual cash when you buy the hardcover, and they only make $50 when you buy the PDF. They would rather you buy the physical product.
Your math is all wrong, Derik. Anyhow, I'll tell you in a second. So,
ta-da! The math is not quite right, but
I got this. This is the actual
Elemental
cover.
Storm.
I got this one.
Oh, by the way,
Monster Hunt.
And I got
note all that black and white art, because speaking of sacred cows, the Shadowdark people would not allow it to be any other way.
No shit. And this is all fucked up. Hey, they messed it up. I don't know
what
why.
happened? Strange and Unusual is like.
All I know is I'm going to get my money back because these are very expensive.
Yes.
So I'm going to. That's the first thing they're going to do. Like, oh shit, we'll give you back your money and we'll do another one for free.
Those are just
did they print
the
entire run, or did they just make one that was like that?
These are proofs.
Oh, they're just proofs. Well, thank goodness for them.
Yeah, no, it's the proof. But actually, I do it's like a UV coating. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah, so
I can sort of see it. Yeah,
I love it.
The UV coating. So I didn't like. It's like I love Kelsey, but I didn't like the silver she did. It's a little easier to see there.
No, I remember you showed me hers versus yours, and the silver seems a little more dull on the official Shadowdark than on the.
I like that UV dull. Offset.
Yeah, it looks dull. So what I did is I'm printing the white, and then I'm doing a UV on the white.
Speaking of Kickstarter and Backer Kit, there is a UV offset printer that's on. It's like it's doing like tens of millions of dollars or something like that. There's like a UV offset printer right now.
I get advertised that all the time, and I was like, that thing looks awesome. And I'm like,
it's called the Morpho.
I know. I get advertised with it. I was like, that almost looks too good to be true.
I know. It's crazy.
I was like, I'm watching them. I'm like, really? Does it really do that? Is it really that good?
I mean, it's obviously way too expensive for me because it's $3,000.
Yeah, I saw it. I was like, if it's that good, because it's showing them printing out 3D terrain and then people doing the 3D terrain. I was like, okay, that thing looks amazing.
Right. But like for doing like proof of concept stuff and like little pre-production models, oh my God, looks incredible. Anyways.
Oh, yeah, look at this. It got fucked up. This got messed up on here too.
Scotty F said, I'm willing to pay for PDFs because I feel like all the actual work still happens for the PDF. Scotty F, you are 100% correct.
You're right. That's just not what people.
That's not how people feel.
But Scotty, you're right, and the other people just have a weird mindset about it.
Well, the other thing too is realize is that like I said, like all the art, all the design, all the layout, that all happens for the PDF. In fact, in some ways, I'm not saying it's no work, but in some ways, once that's all done, getting it printed is usually some other company's problem. Obviously, there's things that you have to take into consideration for the printing. I'm not saying it's not any work, it is. Sure. But for the most part, that's not stuff that your creatives are really working on. That's more of a logistical issue.
You're right. And speaking of the logistical stuff, a super chatter commander, something, it cuts off on my screen. wanted to know how much a proof book costs and how do proofs work as a sort of a system for printing. So basically, they'll send them to you, and you need to check to make sure everything's okay with them before they put out the actual final.
These proofs are free, but these proofs are free only because I also do hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of printing with them, so they give me these for free. Otherwise, you'd probably get charged. However, these hardcover proofs are $150 each.
$150 each.
And you don't need to do these, but
this is an example of Stephen Glicker and his obsession with quality.
No, because I've actually never done a Shadowdark book before, so I wanted to get examples for each one to make sure they were the right size, and then I'm going to put them up here.
Well,
and make sure they
printers
fit.
were lucky they sent you that one so you could see the strange and unusual error. Although they might have spotted it when they started making a lot of them. They would have
spotted it. They're not that dumb. I think they just somehow they're going to be. I know I'm going to write them. I'm going to be like, oh my god, they're going to be like beyond apologetic because that's not supposed to happen. Actually, I've never had that happen before. When I do my 5e books, I actually only get one of these, and because at this point I've done so many of them, I know what they're going to look like, and then they just send me these. And these. So
let me ask you guys a question.
This is what it actually looks like, and then and if you look, all they are. So by the way, this is what a cover looks like. If you want to see, it's actually just a piece of paper with cardboard. That's all a cover is. So it's, and
I know this because I've recently been watching a lot of bookbinding YouTube.
Yes, that's all these are. That's all. That's your cover on your books. That's all.
Speaking of bookbinding, look what came today.
Paper.
Now, for those of you who don't remember this, I was really excited about this last year around Christmas time, and I lamented that I wasn't going to be able to get it because, well, Derik was broke. And luckily, I had an amazing patron, Vin, who is also a huge Wheel of Time fan, who bought it for me. But this finally came in the mail today. So this is the company that's owned by Brandon Sanderson, and they're doing these leather-bound collector's editions of the Wheel of Time series.
Wow!
So this is Eye of the World.
I have a couple of those signed by him.
Absolutely amazing.
Look, and that's what it looked like.
Yeah, but is it leather-bound?
What? I have a special edition. Actually, they wrote me. I got to write them back because they wanted to know what color gold I wanted to use.
So, anyways,
what color foil I wanted to use. But here it is.
Incredible.
Look. So when you all put it together, look at that. Because I had to figure out how to do this differently because it won't have the same. I didn't want color on here, so that's what our black and white Shadowdark books will look like.
I feel like that Monster Hunt is a little weirdly offset.
Oh no, I'm pulling it hard. That's why. Here, like if you pull it really, really hard. Also, it's the smallest one. Like if you look at them like page count wise, it is. See, it's a little smaller.
I guess. It just feels like the Monster Hunt should be more centrally justified or something. Anyways,
you can do it. So I do top justified. Yeah, you're right. So you could either do center, but I do top. Like that.
I guess.
That's just the way.
That's just my personal taste.
Yeah.
What I was going to say is, I saw someone who said in chat, they said, PDFs I think are great for the long tail selling your materials. So here's my question. We talked about how PDFs were always a secondary thing, and they were either something that it was something you bought in addition to buying the print book. And so it was free. It came purchased with the print. When you bought the hard copy, you had the PDF for free. Now, I know a lot of people who don't buy print. They buy only PDF.
That's the majority by far.
That being said, since PDFs are less money, is the PDF market and the shift to PDF, is that bad for the company that are the creatives, the people making these products?
Yes.
Because they can make more money if you were buying the book.
It depends on the company's model. Because, Derik, if this is not a direct-to-you company, and if it's doing any amount of distribution, then the actual amount that the company made on getting those books into distribution when it's going to half, and then the distributor takes a cut of that half, right? So let's say the distributor took a 10% cut, that means you're getting 40%. So pretend that MCDM's books were being distributed. I know that they're doing it on their Kickstarter, the $120 you brought up before. So
sorry, Mark, but I'm talking about what we were talking about earlier when we talk about these smaller products that have no tail. right? Where we said 90% of what they make through the Kickstarter campaign, right? We were just kind of eyeballing
So you're
that.
only talking about them, but then you generalized it to say you were talking about all the companies and creatives.
Well, okay, what
together,
I mean is,
right?
if let's cut through the bullshit. Let's say Derik, okay, is making a book for Fabula Ultima. And and we'll make it easy. I have a print version that's $100 and I have a PDF version that's 25.
Okay.
Right? And my costs to get to that point are fixed, and it's a direct distribution model, right? So and maybe getting it printed and shipping is going to cost me $25. Just say that. So I make $75.
You will make way more in your situation from the physical sales.
Right. I make $75 from the physical sale, and I make $25 from the digital sale.
Except
I would make more money.
You're wrong.
You also have a relatively low-costed PDF in this example because your PDF is 25%.
But I'm using the what most people are willing to pay type model, not the fucking draw. Wait.
Let me back up.
PDF
Let me
model.
just finish this. I'll end this discussion quickly. Okay, you're taking a lot of things not into account.
But wait. But there's also a number of people who would go, I'm not going to back at $100 for a book. So
Right.
I'm also getting customers who would otherwise have not backed at all. Or there are people who would have bought at $100, but because there's a $25 option, that's what they get instead.
No, right. You're okay. So you want both, okay? Because you will make. How do I explain this? First of all,
saying it's a complicated business
it
analytics
is
problem.
fairly complex. It is, but here's the thing: is that you need to give multiple options for this clientele at this point. You can't dictate that it's just one or the other because a lot of people, especially your people, will want a physical book. However, you will make more money on the PDFs because the PDF is all profit, pretty much. Once everything's made and said and done, every PDF you sell directly, you make pure money on. You basically only have to pay a couple bucks on like hosting and delivery costs. But books require warehousing. Okay, warehousing is not cheap. Okay.
Yeah, Derik, you did forget the warehousing component when you were doing that analysis.
Warehouse.
Well, I deliberately forgot the warehousing component because, quite frankly, someone like me,
you're
store it, and you're just like,
get it in the Kickstarter, it's gone forever, then you don't have a warehouse.
You will need a small warehouse, even if it's just for a couple $100 books, because you'll have books lost in the mail. You will have
it's called my garage.
Books. Okay,
I mean, a few hundred books is not much.
Okay, I beg to differ, but it's going to be
Derik,
a lot bigger than you think.
I'm just saying,
Derik,
I've seen your. I'm talking about the size of your operation is very different from the size of the operation of, say, someone like me or like Commander Snookums, who, by the way, I know is working on him and his brother are working on a game.
So Derik,
you're right.
You are absolutely 100% correct that for the exact use case of someone who is only going to make their sales through that beginning crowdfunder and is tiny and can just store things in their garage. So they're a certain size and a certain model that everything you said is true. However, that before you were kind of generalizing it across like the industry to other people. And it's not really true if you have to warehouse it. It's not true if you have to sell anything to retailers or distributors and there are other cuts being taken off, because the moment that the cut is being taken off for those other things, you're suddenly, not only are you making less after you take into account the cost of the book and the shipping and the warehouse, you're sometimes making less before the book, the shipping, and the warehouse, right? So with the $120 books and the $50 PDFs, if you sold those $120 books via a distributor, you'd get $48. That's actually less than $50, and I didn't even subtract anything for the physical books at that point.
Digital's the way. Digital, there's a reason why everyone's going all digital. The ways that it's better is infinite. And here's the easiest way. I'm going to tell you number one why. If I sell a book, my only market is pretty much United States, domestic United States. Okay. That's it. That's not completely true, but for most people it is. If I sell PDF, my market is the entire world. Period. It's like,
that's true.
It's just
I do want to add something though, which Nin said, which is a great example because this kind of takes us back to companies and trust and Daggerheart. And we talked about this, right? At Gen Con. And Nin said, in your scenario, if the expansion book is $30 or $50 more than the car rules, hard pass on the purchase. So like, I'll give you an example, which is I want to do Fabula Ultima, and I want to make a bestiary book as a supplement to the bestiary book that they did last year, which did quite well. The problem that I have is because number one, that they're Italian, and number two, they're very magnanimous, and number three, they had 8,000 backers, is that their PDF was, I have to scroll.
We're all waiting.
I know.
Dead
Well,
air.
Like any good Kickstarter, they have 17 fucking levels. You have to scroll through it.
That's right. You want to
their digital book
you want to make it a mess.
was 25.
Yeah, that's a little low. I mean, it's average.
And the problem with that is that's the official. That sort of sets the bar.
That's the problem. You're 100% right.
You are right.
That's why.
And the thing, by the way, the reason I bring that up is when I was talking about Gen Con is I don't even know where it is.
Because Kelsey's book is $60. Thank God.
No, I was going to talk. It's up here somewhere. Is my Hope and Fear set?
I was just about to say that because you know what? I won't say who, but I was talking to several publishers who were very
furious,
very angry, furious.
They were angry.
Yeah, that they're selling it for $40 because that fucks us all by them doing
it. Fucks
that.
everyone.
Yeah.
To be clear, I want to be very clear about this. Hope and Fear being as cheap as it is a bad thing for the industry.
Very bad.
It's especially bad for the small distributor or small company. Right. Yeah. So because now Daggerheart, you can go, you're like, I got Hope and Fear. It's a whole book in a box set with all these cards, and it was $40. So if someone tries to make their Daggerheart product, which is not official, it's not going to probably have that level of production quality, is not going to have cards or whatever, and they're trying to sell it for $50 or $60 just so they can fucking pay their artists or whatever, people are going to go, why would I pay $60 for that? Hope and Fear was $40.
Right. And you were there when I was talking to the people who print Hope and Fear, and even they were like, I don't know how they're doing it. Like, even they were like,
they're not making any money.
Right, they're the ones who printed it. And they're like, they're not making any money.
So it's a race to the bottom. But so I mean, not saying that it's it is what it is. Okay, €25 is what, like $33?
I don't know, whatever the rate is right now.
Let's just say it's $35.
Mm-hmm.
So the official Fabula Ultima Bestiary Kickstarter last year was $35 for a digital book. That's from the official people who made the game. I couldn't do $50 PDF the way that Draw Steel or Crows did, because people are going to reasonably go, why would I pay $50 for a bestiary from some guy that is going to have a lower production quality and it's going to have less imprimatur than something from the official company who blah 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 blah. And by the way, people aren't wrong to make that assumption and disjunction, but my scale is considerably less and my costs are fixed. So there's
your costs are going to be fixed and they might be comparable to their costs. You don't know. I mean, obviously, sure, they got like the art from the original
Armano,
the art a lot more for some of the special things. Those costs are going to be really, really high.
Right, correct.
But your cost for the regular art could be similar to theirs.
Be similar.
You don't know.
Correct, exactly. So especially if you're trying to do it, at on a scale that will work.
Nobody thinks about that fact that when you're selling to fewer, then you almost need it to cost more unless you want to cause big problems to your budget. People just think it should be less because it's not the official company.
Right, exactly. Whereas my scale, like for example, they got 7,000 backers for their bestiary. I'm hoping that between my Patreon, my audience, my community, and maybe some bleed, that I can get 10% of that.
You know what?
I'm hoping I can get 700.
You know what? I'm so proud. Not that we made $1 million on Backer Kid on Deathbringer. I am so proud that I am now brought up constantly as considered as the excess of backer kits, because they're like, a denim jacket. I hear that all the time now. I'm like, yes. That is
you are the new bar for
the
what
bar.
the fuck does this have to do with the game?
Right. I've been set. I'm so proud of that. But because we had all that crazy stuff, it's because it was so successful. I can't do that and the only reason I did that
You can't do that on Roll for Combat.
I can't do it.
Like,
on
you
a
can't do that
regular one,
on like an Eldamon
On
release.
Battlezoo.
No, I can't do that. I can't do that for Battlezoo stuff. But I knew
the number of people
well
who even bought the much less excessive and actually useful for your game accessories on Eldamon was very low.
Very low.
I think it was lower than Steven.
Well, I mean, I still think the pinnacle of this is Neon Odyssey.
They're the bar. Because
that's like,
you see the list, like
that's like that
it's
guy
this long of the
that's like
crowd.
that guy who keeps going to the world championships for pole vaulting or whatever, and he keeps raising his own world record. Like that's like the level that guy is.
Because the funny thing is, you look, because when you go to the Kickstarter page, it shows every single thing that's in the campaign, and there's like 2 little books and then a mile of shit.
It's like a legal, or it's a
legal document.
The size of the image is not like square. It's like 1:4 is like the ratio of the image.
Oh no, it's not 1:4. It's like 1
at the
by
top
20.
are the 3 little books. You can barely see them, and then it's just plushies and dice and pins
STLs,
and minis and STLs,
everything,
and just endless crap.
Yes.
It's just like somebody went to Longpack and clicked select all. Print.
They did. And the funny thing is, I look at that and I go,
right.
I'm
horrified, and I'm vomiting in this corner, and you're over here going like, "Wow, what an inspiration!"
Well, that was my inspiration. That's how I did ours. I was like, I'm going to copy that model, and God bless them, it works. I mean, but the thing is, because this was a big thing on the in world, people are like, "Oh, you shouldn't offer these tiers." I'm like, then don't back them. Okay, just don't back them. Like, look,
you could back for a tiny amount, just
$35.
for the
You get
small thing
all
that you
the
want.
PDFs. You get everything you need. That's it. That's all you need. If you want the book at 60, you get all the fun stuff. You don't need to get the jacket. I get it.
Well, it's the classic problem of, like, people being offended at other people being, quote, precious snowflakes, right? It's like, wait, you sound offended. It sounds like you're the snowflake. It's like where people are like, this is a disgusting ploy to cash in on FOMO, and it's like, it sounds like you have FOMO. like it's just like, well, don't buy it then. If you don't want it, don't get it.
Oh, Dungeon Crawl Carl.
Just for the people who were really interested in that kind of stuff.
I didn't even back it. People are like, how much did you back it for, Steve? I'm like, nothing.
Well, that's like, I mean, I put myself on them. I didn't back Deathbringer. I haven't backed Hackmaster. I am on a moratorium.
Well, you don't need to back Deathbringer. I'll give it to you, but
Well, I know that, but historically, like JP Couvert. Right?
Yeah, I actually back.
Well, he'd always give up. No, I'm saying, but he'd always give.
Patron. I get all the stuff. So.
I know, but I'm saying he would always give friends and family, and people at Gen Con. He'd always come with his kits and give people. And I said, no, I don't need it, dude. I already backed you. Like, I like supporting the artist. If I was still working, I would absolutely have supported Deathbringer and stuff like that, just to show my support for the project. But I had to make a cutback this year, and I had to make a decision, which is unless somebody sends it to me for free, I'm not backing anything this year. Because
actually, I'm curious to see DCC Dungeon Crawl Carl.
I just got in the mail today a gigantic box of StarCraft.
Oh
miniatures,
my God, you finally got it.
Which I finally got, but I backed that last year when I still had money. Like, would I back $1,000 of StarCraft minis
I want to
year?
play that. I want to try.
Hell no.
I want to try that.
Hell no.
Well,
that's like almost as much money as I make in a month.
Yeah. Where were we?
Anyways,
we're talking about a lot of stuff. Oh, we're talking about we're all over the place talking about tiers and stuff.
But I want High Tech Wizard said something which I want to bring up. He said, or they said, if every book on any one of these bookshelves, not Mark's, that's fake, on this stream are $80 plus, then this is an impossible hobby for most people. I'm okay driving prices down.
This is one of the cheapest hobbies there is out there. Period.
Well, but not only that, High Tech Wizard,
I hate to break it,
the value for money on an RPG is insane. I don't expect most people who want to even have this many books.
Yeah, this is more books than you will need to have this.
This is more games than I could play in my life.
This is not a hobby. This is an obsession when it gets to be that
correct.
book.
And also, this is 30 years of collecting. But more importantly than that, if you have that idea or that attitude, then the only thing you're going to get is D&D.
Yeah.
Because the small independent creators, right, as Mark was saying, their cost for them to hire an art, assuming you want it to be good, the cost for them to hire an artist is basically the same. In fact, they probably pay more.
You
because they
basically
can't do it
get
with the
two
bulk and the scale
choices
and the volume.
if you want to drive the prices down. You get the choice one is D&D and the big guys. It doesn't have to be only D&D, right? But it has to be someone who sells so many. MCDM, right? Darrington, anyone who Paizo who can sell so much that they can keep it low. Or you're going to get AI slop where they don't pay the artist because they can't pay the artist because you have not given them enough money to pay the artist.
Yeah.
Right? That's what you're going to get. And I don't think that's healthy. I don't think that's good for the industry.
Yeah.
But
the problem is that books look, the problem is that you can sell a book that has full color art with 200 illustrations for $50, or you can sell a book with black and white, same size, no illustrations, also for $50. It's like,
well, even though the black and white art costs about 10%.
No, there's no art. But no, I'd say there's no art. Like, that's the thing, is that books are basically.
No, if you have no art, people won't buy it.
No,
mostly.
well, I didn't say that, but I didn't say I think we buy it.
I don't know if we ever discussed this publicly, but during Gen Con, I had this Machiavellian idea, right? Not even Machiavellian, truly socially trolling, disturbing, which was I was going to do 2 Kickstarters at the same time. Do you remember this, Stephen?
You're actually
as a social experiment?
No. Oh, okay. Yeah, I do. Yeah. You're actually not allowed, but keep going.
Okay, whatever. Fine. I'll do one on Kickstarter, one on BackerKit.
That you can do.
Okay, that I can do. And the idea is I'm going to do 2. They're going to be the same book or the same high-level design, right? The same concept.
We did talk about that. Privately, right? We talked about that.
Okay. And the one book is going to be all AI. And when I say all AI, I don't literally mean like go to ChatGPT and say, make me a book. I mean like AI is going to be used for the art. AI is going to be used to help write the book and all this other stuff. Okay. And it'll probably be digital only. And it'll be like $5 or something, like $10. Then the other book would be handcrafted, painted, real artists making real art, handcrafted, published lovingly, hand, stitched, binding, like the highest level of quality. And it will be like $250. That's like the minimum order. And like, there's no PDF option. You might get a PDF if you get the $250 option, but there's no way I could make money by selling this as a PDF. And then I'm going to say, and we'll make the game that gets the most money, right? Money. And we'll see where people put their money where their mouth is. People say they want to support high dollar. I love the books and the artists and I love the creative design. Okay. But then I'm also saying, but you could get the same book for $5 and yeah, it used AI and we'll see where people actually put their money. And I was just curious. Now, obviously this would make me a social pariah on almost every platform in the RPG space, but I was just interested in doing it just strictly from a social experiment,
just to see how many people actually buy their principles and shop, and when their wallet when it comes down to their wallet,
they talk the talk. Do they walk the walk?
There's endless. I've watched endless, and you and I have watched these. We've talked about it all the time. There's endless videos going on about this, showing people to buy American, buy this. No one does it.
My guess, Derik,
and then they've got their Temu.
They do not.
Derik, here's my guess. If you did that experiment, both of them would sell quite poorly, but the AI one that's only $5 will sell better than the $250 one.
No,
they'll both be bad because people are not going to want either of those two things.
No,
since one of them is so cheap, some people will buy it anyway.
This is what's going to happen. And it hasn't happened yet, but it's going to, because it happens in every industry. And you and I talked about this, Derik. It's that someone is going to come out with a book. It's not a TTRPG. It's going to be somewhere. It's going to be like a bestseller, New York Times bestseller. It's going to be like #1. It's going to be like the thing that everyone loves and talks about. And then they're going to find out it was all done with AI. And they're going to be like, oh my God, what do you mean? And then there's going to be this huge public outrage and people are going to fucking lose their minds. And then people are going to be like, well, wait a second. Does that mean if I bought that book and I really like that book, does that mean that I like AI? I don't know. And that's going to be the moment. That's the aliens visit Earth moment where you're like, oh, wait, what? Like, what are my principles? Because you say what you think they are, but what you really, no one, It's one thing you learn. Marketing 101. What people say is not what they do. Simple as that. It's 100%. And it's proven over
Marcus,
and over and over and over again in marketing.
Yeah, we'll see over
Marcus,
time.
I mean, we've told this story many times. It's one of my favorite stories ever, was watching, just for a brief moment, right, the light in Mark Seifter's eyes die a little bit, which is watching
the Milli Vanilli for RPGs. There we go.
No, which is watching somebody be super excited about a RPG book, talk to the creator who made it there, and super excited about this game and this book, and I'll sign it for you. And we had this great conversation. You have this personalized moment, and then you tell them that the price is, $50, and they kind of go, I don't know if I can afford that right now. Maybe I'll come back later. And you go, okay. And then they turn around and go and buy $85 dice from the booth behind you.
You can see it because it's in the booth right across.
The booth was literally behind ours. So to your point about people spending $40 on a few large pizzas and not even blinking an eye, absolutely. People will at Gen Con, they will spend, people at Gen Con will spend $2,000 for their hotel room. And then, bulk at buying a $50 book from some small publisher.
Well, I've told you 100 times where, like, we went to a baseball game in Seattle with my friends, and they ended up wanting to buy the cheapest tickets. And I was like, dude, we just bought a plane ticket. We bought plane tickets to come here. We rented a car, and we're renting hotels. This is where you're cheaping out? Is the actual game the whole reason we're coming here? I'm like, no, we got the best tickets. And I had to freaking buy them because they were like you and I going to the Dodger game. You saw I bought us tickets behind fucking home plate, baby, because that's why we're going. And I go to one Dodger game every 10 years, and this is your first one ever, probably, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Exactly. So that's not where you cheap out, man. I don't know how we came to this, but
I don't know. But Salahudin says
we came down to
spend $100 on a food or a theater or skins in a Marvel Rival or Fortnite game, but $40 for a TTRPG book is suddenly too expensive.
It's because people were talking about wanting to drive the price down, and they said that they were happy to watch it just go down and down.
Right. There were some people in chat who seemed to be like, that's gatekeeping, and we should drive the prices down. And I'm like, no.
You're actually gatekeeping the industry by driving the prices down to only the groups that I mentioned. And I forgot one very important third group when I told you that you either get the very big companies or someone doing AI slop. You also get the Bruce Wayne, the person who's just so rich that they can just do it and lose money and they don't care.
Oh, right. That's a good point.
Right. You're gatekeeping the hobby to only be a big company, or if you're assuming you're not going to do slop, big company, or just some really rich person who's like, I don't care if I lose all this money.
No. There's a third person. Which is the person I need to be very careful about not becoming, which is a person who is doing this because this is their love and their dream. And they would just be tickled pink just to see their name on a book and to get their idea out there. And they are willing to pay, they might even be willing to lose money that they don't have.
Oh, okay, fair.
To get the book published, right?
Right.
Just because it's their dream.
Someone who wants to go into debt to do it. That's fair. That's like a variation on the person I was talking about there who can afford to just lose
Kevin
money.
Smith very famously, he maxed out 6 credit cards to film Clerks.
Yeah.
Okay. And if it hadn't been a financial success, he would have been just fucked.
Well, that happens to most people because you hear only about the successful ones. You don't hear about the people.
I'm just saying there are. I think
everything.
RPGs are like any other creative space where you are able to take advantage of the fact that these people are not just doing it for the money. That there's a certain component of this where they're like, I kind of would be doing this for free.
So, by the way, I know you don't watch movies, but you actually have to watch this movie, Derik. You have to watch American Fiction. So it has Jeffrey Wright, and he literally in the movie does what you did. So he is an author that is well respected and loved, and he makes no money and he sells no books. So he's just sitting there and he's losing his mind because he can't get anything published and he thinks everyone's an idiot. So he goes, okay, I'm going to write the most lowbrow book ever. And then he writes this book, and he basically is this made-up book, and Jeffrey Rush is black. So, and he makes this book up where he's supposedly his life in the inner city, and he doesn't even write it using real English. It's all broken English with stuff. And then he sends it to his publisher, and his publisher is like, oh my God, it's amazing. We're going to publish it.
Yeah.
And then he's like, are you fucking kidding me? And then it becomes a huge hit. And then they're like, and everyone who reads it is like, oh my God, this book is incredible. It's like, what are you going to call it? And then he's doing everything in his power to destroy the book. And then he goes, okay, what's the title of the book? He goes, the title of the book is Fuck. And he goes, well, it's like, F you, no. It has to be Fuck. Bold letters on the book. No, he's like, no compromise. And they're like, and then by the end of the meeting, you're like, yeah, I see it. Okay, yeah, it's gonna be me. And he's like, are you kidding me? He's like, he's doing everything in his power to kill this book.
To troll the audience, and they love it.
And they love it. And they love it. And of course, it becomes a huge hit. And then it's like, he can't believe it. And that's what all this movie is about. But it's done in a very realistic way. And then they want to make a movie out of it. And then he has to meet people. So he has to come up with a persona. And this is the best part, because he is like talking to a Hollywood director, and the Hollywood director, and he's like totally faking like he's from the hood and stuff. And then something happens outside because there's another drama. There's the B story. And then he has to leave suddenly because something happened to his friend in the B story. But then the director is like, oh, what do you think of it? He goes, oh my God, his guy was amazing. He's so realistic. In fact, in the middle of the meeting, he heard sirens and he had to leave the meeting because that's how jaded he is, because he's from the inner city. And of course, had nothing to do with that. And I'm like, this is such a funny movie. Anyhow, you have to see it. It's called American Fiction, and it is basically what you just described. And that's the whole movie.
Pretty good. But no, I do want to talk about, Spine 6, I don't disagree with you, right? Like, just because you make something, the world doesn't owe you, right? But there's a juxtaposition of that, which is like, if people want your product, but they don't want to pay for it, and they're like, I'm only willing to pay $20, that's the same way as saying you don't think that product should exist. Because if the amount of money that a person can make isn't a wage that they can live on, then that's essentially the same thing as saying is it shouldn't exist, right? Yeah. The market might value my book at $2. Well, then it's just not going to get made then, right? So then that's like the saying it just shouldn't be there, which is fine, which is good. But then you cannot expect people to make that and accept that, poverty wages.
In fact, the people who either are the Bruce Wayne or, like you said, Derik, just can't afford it but make it at a loss anyway, those enthusiasts, it's not only is it bad for them if they make it at a loss, money they can't afford, it's bad for everybody at that point.
Ergo, Stephen, Wizards of the Coast giving all this stuff away for free, all this free value, is bad for the industry because no one else could ever afford to do this.
Well, actually, someone pointed out it's not free because you actually have to subscribe to D&D Beyond, but then you get it.
So it's not free.
It's not free.
Not even
I was wrong. I was wrong. I was wrong.
So there you go. That's the real. So it's just a way to entice you to sign up even more.
But you know what? It is free for Steven.
What?
It's free for Steven.
And for Mark.
And for me, that's not. I have to say this: they are extremely generous when they give you access to stuff from D&D Beyond. I didn't know what I was expecting when Steven said they were putting me on their list, but it definitely was less than what I actually received from them. Yeah. It was not just all of their things; it was everything they could possibly give.
Everything on D&D
Beyond.
They were
generous and very kind.
Of great art that we cherish and love today. When you think about like the Masters, right? They were sponsored. They didn't do it commercially.
Of course. Yeah, they had patrons. Right?
They had patrons. They had patrons, right? Who came in and said, hey, Leonardo da Vinci, I'm going to pay you the equivalent probably of $1 million a year. I believe in your vision and I want you to create art and not have to worry about appealing to the masses or the day-to-day grind.
So I mean, sometimes they ask them for something weird, to be fair, where they'd be like, hey, Michelangelo Buonarroti, you're the best sculptor of our time. Paint the ceiling. Do it. And then Raphael was like, what are you doing? Why'd you get Michelangelo to paint that?
Yeah. Actually, watch Girl with the Pearl Earring. That's what that movie's about. Is about him trying to express his art. And his wife is always like basically talking to his patron saying, oh, well, so for our next piece. And, and he's like, I don't know if I want to do another piece. And she's like trying to make sure he's like getting paid.
This is the new meta. This is the new meta. Crowdfunding campaign. The goal is $250,000. There's one tier. It's a 1 of 1, and it's $250,000.
You're not allowed to do that. There's a limit. It can only go up to 25,000. Yeah.
That would be hilarious, though, if it was like my goal is to have a Renaissance style patron, just like back in the day. You will be you'll be like the Pope, or
you can be my Pope. Yes.
So that already
you'll
exists.
be Lorenzo de Medici, and
so that existed in gaming, and so when the App Store first came online for Apple, there was a app called I Am Rich, and it was a picture of a red bar. That's it. It was just red. That's it. But it cost $999, which was the most you were allowed to spend on an app. And it was taken down, but something like 13 people bought it. Just to show. And it did nothing. It was just a picture. It was like a red piece of paper, and that was it.
My favorite was
it's just called I Am Rich.
My favorite was it Million Pixel?
Yeah, the Million Pixel. Oh, the $1 million. Yeah, the $1 million. Right, is that you can buy a pixel.
You can buy a pixel for $1.
For $1, and if they sold a million,
10,000 by 10,000 pixels,
right? And
it was a web page that just displayed the
down.
image.
And they sold out, and then there was a trillion copycats. And it was
there was a lot of copycats.
Well, there's a new one that's coming out. Okay, you ready for this? This is actually getting a lot of press. It's not even out yet. Where it is a game called Find the Needle. Look it up. And it is a ball of hay. And there's like 5 million pieces of hay, and all you could do is you're only allowed to take one piece of hay out at a time. And the whole goal of the game is to find the needle. The game is free, but if you want to buy a metal detector, the DLC of the metal detector is like $100 or something. It's something like crazy. It's not even out yet. Everyone's talking about it. And I was like, that is genius.
Yeah. So Jeff Whitty, you say that, and I'm immediately reminded of Van Gogh, who died broke and penniless, having never found any sort of commercial success or critical success, and obviously he's now beloved. So I mean, I guess that there's this idea of like, do you think that that people should suffer in their lifetimes and only be recognized posthumously? I think I'd rather have talented people rewarded and recognized for their efforts. So
me too. David Perry sent a super chat that said ODF lose more money through piracy too.
Well, you do what I do. I stay on top of the pirates, and I do takedown notices every week, and they do. So
I do agree with Black Lodge, which is I think part of the problem is that the rich tend in our modern era just have absolutely terrible tastes.
Well, yeah.
I've told this story before, but like years ago, I went to this small town in PA.
Only ones you see that are the ones with bad taste. There's a lot with good taste.
No, but like again, example, like I went to this small town in Pennsylvania once years ago to go to this Airbnb, and I don't remember the name of the town, but like years ago, during like the 1800s, late 1800s or early 1900s, there was some sort of steel baron that lived in that town, right? His steel mill was in that town. Everyone in the town worked for the steel mill. It was during like the heyday of the steel. He was sort of a Rockefeller or a whatever type character. But if you go through the town, every building, the library, the city hall, the school, high school, the everything was named after this guy because he built all of it. He made all this money off of the steel industry. He employed the entire town, and then he took his money and as a philanthropist, not the government, not taxing, but back then he just said, I want to build a library. Just put my name on it, but build a library, build a great school, build a city hall, build a fire department.
Mellon or Fisk, or do you remember? Because Mellon did that. I mean, sorry, Carnegie did that. Carnegie.
Oh, I know. That's what I said. It wasn't like Rockefeller or Carnegie. It was some other guy in some other town.
Okay, yeah.
But like, I was kind of like, man, people just don't do that anymore.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
Not like they used to.
They do that
like
quite.
they used to.
Yeah, they do. They do it all the time. They do it for
they
hospitals.
There's just so many of them out there. You don't see it unless you work there. But
yeah.
I'm not talking about like they gave Harvard an endowment. I'm talking
That's
about
what
like
they do though.
Public. I'm talking about public.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair.
Okay.
Public
Here's the problem.
buildings.
Well, here's the problem. I'll tell you. So actually, I can talk about this. This actually just happened. So, my niece works for Lincoln Center. And they had things where you would name something. You would like donate to Lincoln Center, which is sort of public, but it is a huge, if you've never seen Lincoln Center, it's gigantic. It's beautiful. It's, they have a lot of public art and a lot of public exhibits there as well as private. And, it is a combination of art. It's a public art space. And it's absolutely massive. but they need public money. So they did a thing was, okay, well, if you donated, this is like 50 years ago, like $10 million, we will name this building after you forever, right? Well, there's a problem with forever is that they needed to update the building. And they were like, shit, they're in Manhattan. They ran out of space and everything was already donated forever and they can't change the name. So what do? So suddenly they found loopholes and forever was not forever. And they're like, sorry about that, X family. We are now, because we need $500 million because the building's 50 years old. So although your name is on the building, we need to do it again. And that like, you donate money and you now have that named building for the rest of your life. They have now loopholes in there where, well, no, it's actually not for the rest of your life. That does not exist anymore. None of that is like, okay.
Yes, by the way, the town is Sharon, Pennsylvania, and it is Frank Bull who owned the Sharon Iron Works.
There we go.
Back in the day.
So anyhow, all these places. So now that's the problem is that you can donate money to these places. Like, for example, I was friendly with this guy, his kid is Bennett Hirschhorn was his name. And their family donated for the Hirschhorn Museum in Washington, D.C. That's their museum, like things like that. My friend, his name is a good friend of mine, actually. We used to play board games together. Vanderbilt, as in Vanderbilt, as in there's a Vanderbilt Avenue like in Manhattan, like that's his like great grandfather or something. There are people that still exist of that level, but now it goes to arenas, it goes to sports, it goes to they just don't do public works.
That's what I'm saying though,
they just don't do
that's
public
fine
works.
But let's public good. It's the same thing with RPGs. You'd be doing a public service. Now I can finally create my esoteric RPG that no one wants, but because someone paid for it, it can get made.
Hey, well, you'll add it to the pile.
I do have a large list.
You see, I saw this is a whole other topic we could do, which is so sad, is they saw something saying they averaged that when you back an RPG, that only 10% of the people who back it, and this is board games too, not just as only 10% play it once. And of that 10%, only 10% of those people play it multiple times. So that's 1%. 1% of the people who back something actually
so that means
play
if you
more
have
than
10,000 backers, then you have 100 people
That's correct.
who played 2 times.
Yeah.
Yeah. For every 100 people, you get one person who actually plays it more than once.
Yeah.
And you know what? That kind of tracks.
Does that mean if Derik sells 700 copies of his bestiary, that 7 people will use his monsters? Or do bestiaries do better?
It's a little different.
I think bestiaries are a little bit different, like a supplement to an existing game as opposed to its own bespoke game system.
This was right. Fair. This was for bespoke game systems and board games. This is more for board games, but they kind of lump TTRPGs in there too. But I get that because also board games. This was fascinating. I was talking to someone about this a couple weeks ago, actually from Backer Kit, and they were like, the thing about board games, they're not really made except, because they're talking about legacy and people don't play them that much. You're talking about how much you like Oath and stuff, but I'm like, yeah, but most people only play games a couple times. So if it breaks after like 3 or 4 or 5 times and you start figuring out the mechanics, that's fine because those people move on. There's so many games, they'll just I have one of my things I do is like whenever I play a board game, I'll write the date on the inside box cover of when I played it. Yeah.
And I have a lot of board games that only have like 2 or 3 dates.
Right. That's right. That's why I said, that's why the number of people.
You're already in the 1%.
You're in the 1%.
You have 2 or 3.
I also own too high of a number of board games that are still in the shrink wrap. So.
Right. I do too. But that's the thing is that Well, I played the Old King's Crown, and I actually played it 2 weeks in a row, and I was like, whoa! And already, I mean, that's a fascinating game because the more you play it, it's totally arcs, and it's fascinating. But
yeah, people were very mad because I was like, oh, I said when I did my Gen Con haul, and I was like, oh, this is the first thing I got, which was from Glicker, who bought it for me. He said, you have to have this. It's like arcs. And everyone's like, this is nothing like arcs. They're like, and I'm like, but it was sold. They're like, no, like, then I think people were hung up when they said arcs because I think they assumed you meant like it was a trick taking game.
Well, it's not trick taking, it's bidding. But the theming and the functionality of the game are fascinating because everyone has the exact same deck of cards, but your special powers and powers you can bid on to change the way you play are different. So it's you'll like it. You'll like it. Also, the story is awesome. Like the story behind it, like there's 4 houses and each house has different art. And if you really pay attention, you can see like in one, it has the king and the king is a little boy. But then when you get to the advanced deck, you have one of the cards is like the true ruler, which is like his like older sister who like bumps him off and like takes over. I was like, and this is all like through, like the cards and the art, none of this is in the game itself, but it's like, okay. And like, anyhow, it's fascinating. It's through the game mechanics. It's very much like magic, like just through mechanics and through lore and through art do you get the story. So it's a fun game. Really
which I love.
I know you do. That's why I said you're gonna fucking love this game.
Are and should be. So
yeah, you're gonna love that game. But that's the thing. It's like people just don't play these things that often. That's why TTRPGs are such an anomaly because they are supposedly designed to play quote forever. But even the average play session is like 7. And that's a lot because how many people play it once? It's like the people like us who play it thousands of times versus the people who play it once averages out to like 7 or 8 or 9, and that's it.
Is the 7 the median or the mean?
Great question.
Because the thousands
My
people
guess,
might
Mark,
not be included if
is it the mean, right? Because obviously there's a huge weight shift from the people who've been like, I've been playing the same campaign since 1992.
It's the data from D&D Beyond.
But does D&D Beyond say whether it's the median or the mean?
I don't know.
You always have to figure that one out.
Mark, people don't respect statistics. They just throw these numbers out there. But they did say average. And if you say average,
if you say average and you
don't
say
the mean, but
and you're trying to use the median, you're probably being a little bit weird.
Okay. Well, they say average, so I don't know what average means. You have to take it from there.
I'm going to assume that's the mean unless they're being
No, you know what, Mark? Sneaky. I assume it's the mode.
Yeah, there you go. The mode. Technically a type of average, but also the one that people sometimes use to trick you.
I hate all 3 of you. That includes me. I include the whole triad.
Steven hates himself. That's what this all about. But you know what? After you do your session 0 for your D&D camp,
we should stream after that,
Derik.
We should stream after it just to see what happens.
It's so late to 10 p.m.
I know.
Well, because it's on Pacific time, right? So
I'm actually glad it was because I have a football draft at 8 p.m. So
well, I will say this: when Derik does a session 0 for his group, that can usually take anywhere from 3 to 4 sessions. So I'm assuming
3 to 4 sessions.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Session 0,
like
0.1, 0.2, 0.3.
Okay.
So I'm going to guess that because everybody else is bringing a character that's already completed, and they're using D&D Beyond.
Yeah, but I asked her if we can do Eldamon train. Wait,
an hour.
Wait, I asked her if we can use Eldamon trainers or elemental avatars or dragons. She said yes, we're allowed.
Ooh, Darren. Maybe you shouldn't play
Hashtag tempted.
That's what I was like looking at a paladin, but now I'm also looking at my dragons, and I'm like, might have to do a dragon just to show them up a little. Have some fun. Or maybe we do the element like we do an Eldamon trainer or elemental avatar. She said as long as we know the rules and how to play it, she's fine with it. So
yeah, and then I'm gonna come in there with the fucking Death Eldamon attack, and people are gonna go, "What the fuck is this?"
I know, and so am I, and we're gonna be like, "Yeah, baby."
You know what, Derik?
Like, you thought your Sorkadin was so powerful. Well, check this out.
You know what?
Elemental Avatar.
Derik, though, people don't blink at it as much in D&D because there's some weird combos.
It's so powerful. It's so powerful. I am looking at a dragon, although I think we might have to add another type of dragon now, Mark, because we only have the mage, because it's the class in D&D, and we only have the mage and the fighter. I kind of wanted to do something in between, so.
Well, you can multi-class, Steven.
No,
That's
true.
like, you multi-class with dragon and dragon mage and fighter, and then splash in some other class that you want.
I don't know how to
But
do
yes, that is the
exactly.
thing with D&D, is that it was forced to be a class because we couldn't get away with
Although,
making
well,
it
I
be
was looking at
something else.
metamorphic, but I couldn't understand when wild magic was used in my own book. I was like, wait a second, why can't I use wild magic more often?
The wild magic is from the Wellspring Dragon,
I
mostly.
meant Wellspring. I was looking at the Wellspring.
Yeah.
But it's only
Jordy,
2 feats allow you to really use it, or 3 feats.
Jordy,
But
And also some of the gifts, I think.
well, those are the gifts. Well, it's the gifts in 5e. But I was like, I thought it'd be like if you roll a 1, it just happens too, or like if.
Well, that's something that the book says the GM is allowed to do if they want to. But then there's also things that force your enemies to do them.
Yeah,
it's on like 4 different things, maybe 5.
There is. Well, we're only 5th level,
but some
so
of them are
2.
higher level, and so you can't get them yet. Yeah.
Well, no, it's 5th level, so I can get the one where I roll twice and I choose the worst one. And I also get the feat where the bad stuff doesn't affect me. So I was thinking of having a house rule for myself that if I roll a 1, every time I cast a spell, I just roll a 1d20. If I roll a 1, then wild magic happens.
I think you can do that.
Oh, yeah. Because I want it to happen.
As long as your GM is okay with you nerfing yourself a little, it's just fun.
I want random shit to happen. I want bad stuff.
Yeah, wild magic tables are fun, especially at a special event like a camp or something like that. And Derik will like that you did that, maybe, because Derik doesn't want a canned event. And so because of the fact that these random tables will create emergent play, he will enjoy it more.
I'm bringing Agent Chaos to this. Don't worry.
Well, no, but see, but that's the other issue, right? Is like, I am not a narcissist and a sociopath like Steven.
What?
I am very cognizant.
Back. I am not both of those things. Okay. I'm way more than those things.
I am very like, I'm very like, like an Enneagram, like I'm a 2, right? Like, I want to make sure that these people are having the experience that they want to have, right? Like, I don't want to have my experience at the expense of them. If they're coming expecting a bottled D&D adventure, I don't want to be the person who throws that to the fucking wolves, right? Even though that's my style, which is to play it, drive it like I stole it, and play like there's no tomorrow because there isn't, yada, yada, yada. And being like, Steven goes like random magic, and it's like, everything turns purple, and I'm just like, yeah, fuck, let's hardcore into that.
Jared, I think a lot of those people, are not ideological about wanting something canned. They're just excited.
They're going to have so much fun.
So
and
if you change the experience, they'll love that too. I think they're just very Timmy and excited.
No, I think
wild magic.
I could have a completely wrong attitude about these people. But I think a lot of people are like, will be mad.
Too bad.
Because they're like, oh, you ruined the experience I was supposed to have.
First of all,
I don't know.
Okay, first of all, I will get a feel of these people tonight.
I also wonder how much
people who don't.
I also wonder how much this,
that.
Sammy Glicker person is, quite frankly, going to be able to handle and roll with the punches of someone like you. Or if I
gotta find out
me. And can you imagine you and me? That's like me and Smith. Did you ever watch Bob try to GM us?
Oh no, that would be a disaster. Yeah, no. I mean,
there was
like
supposed to be a scene
players.
in the Poppet adventure where they were supposed to fight the evil Frosty the Snowman.
Oh yeah, no,
and he was started out as a big ice golem.
Yeah, no.
And instead, Smith, as Elsa, as in the Disney princess, seduced him and had sex with Frosty in order to get him to allow them entrance into Santa's castle. Now, that's the type of thing that a lot of GMs will not be emotionally handled for. 2, a lot of players, players would also be upset because they were like, damn, you took that away from me. I was looking forward to fighting Frosty. I've heard stuff like this.
Well, that's why
I can see that happening even for Derik. I can see that happening even for people who don't like canned adventures and who like emergent gameplay. I could see a combat player being like, man, we've heard about Frosty and for multiple sessions and how big and dangerous Frosty is. I know the GM has been saying outside of combat, oh yeah, I really statted up Frosty. It's going to be a really interesting multi-phase encounter. And that was my whole week maybe whole
Okay.
month. I've
Wait
been
a
waiting for
second.
this, and then you just seduced him. I could see that happening even if it wasn't canned,
Right.
just because some people love fights.
Okay.
Yeah, I've given an example before. My 3rd edition campaign, like my first real long one, went to 20th level, and the final villain was this custom Baylor that had being forced to live as the heart of a dragon, and then it emerged and had all this thing. And someone had read, one of my players had like years ago or like months ago, it had like asked to look at its stats, and everyone was like, "Oh my god!" And he got Vorpal sorted and got decapitated in the first round of combat. For my group, it is literally the greatest gaming moment of all time. When I've told that story on streams and stuff like that, a lot of people have been like, "Oh my god, I would have been so mad," or "that would have been so awful," and yada yada yada. So for my group, it was the greatest thing that we've ever seen. For so many other people, they were like upset, or they would have been felt that they got gypped or whatever.
You're 100%
I
right.
think that it's great when it happens sometimes, right? I have a similar story. You probably heard it when the last time you told that one, I probably told this one, which was that there was a campaign where the group was trying to basically overthrow the Jade Emperor, who the moment basically that he sat down on his throne, he could control all dragons in the Empire, including the person who was the group's patron who wanted them to overthrow the Jade Empire. And the group was going to have to fight this army of dragons. But the Wujen won initiative and used a maximize disintegrate, and the Jade Emperor rolled a natural 1, which I think he needed a 2 to make his save, and he died. And he couldn't even send the dragons, who were now free. And the group had a person who had a little bit of Imperial blood who was in their party, who was waiting to just sit down on the throne next to make sure nothing else happened. And they completely had it covered. And there was no fight other than that. And they loved it, especially the player of the Wujen, but everybody loved it. And so, like, if that happened every fight, I think they would have been very upset. But since the fights were usually long and difficult, that one was such a surprise. That's why they just keep talking about it.
Derik, you have to trust me that I am not one of those people who yucks in someone's yum. If I see and get the sense that
but I have seen you rapidly and quickly take the reins from people who are less domineering and socially forward as you are. Anytime you've ever played with Kelsey and any of her groups, you're like looking around, you're like,
I'm
no one
playing
else is
with
going to do
Kelsey,
anything. Okay,
and
fine,
Kelsey is a
okay, so here's
pro.
what we're going to do. We're going to go
And
here. We're going to do
everyone
this.
else
We're
in
going
that
to do this.
group
I've seen
was
you do
a
it.
pro. You're right.
I've seen you do it.
You are right, except those are all pros we were playing with. And we're playing with literally YouTubers. And if they can't hold their own, that's their problem. We're going to be playing in a very different situation, and I will be more restrained. However, I do want to have the option to go crazy.
But verify.
Okay, you're
I'm just
100%
saying,
right. You are 100% right. I want the option to go berserk. That's why I want to have it in the back pocket. But I will not yuck other people's yum. Right. Now, when we play with Kelsey, and we're playing with Baron DeRop, and we're playing with Ron Lundeen, and we're playing with fucking A-listers, they better be able to hold their own. And if they can't, that's not my problem.
Let's not get crazy here, A-listers, okay?
Well, A-listers as in terms of these people literally fucking make the games, okay?
They're no Matt Mercer, okay? They're no Laura Bailey. That's an A-lister.
Okay,
they're
no
no
A-listers in the game creation space.
Those people, D&D legends. Okay,
no. So that makes Mark is not an A-lister.
I like Baron a lot, but he did not make an entire RPG like Kelsey did. So he may be on a different list than her too.
They are experienced. How about that?
Fine. No, that's totally right.
Okay, but, they're experienced.
I guess what I'm trying to say too is like, you have a net. Well, whatever.
And actually, Ron Lundeen, he and I were sitting next to each other, and we ganged up and did shit together, and that was tons of fun.
Gunderlin, I hate fives. No. Listen, to be clear, everything that Steven's talking about, I feel. Right. 5 seconds of silence. That's too long for me. Let's go. I don't even like planning. Like when people in groups start talking to each other and they start like circling endlessly, I'll just be like, fuck it. I jumped down the cliff. And you're like, I think that will definitely kill your character. I'm like, well, at least it's doing something. Like
First of all, also half the time I played with Kelsey was an actual play in front of an audience. And it's not my fault that I'm the one who had sex with the dragon and everyone else was being boring. All right. not my fault. Okay, it's like, yeah, you got to bring your. If that's also different. If you're doing an actual play in front of an audience, you got to bring your A++, and you got to be outrageous. But and we're playing these one shots just for fun. Yeah, I'm going to be outrageous because it's a fucking one shot. But this is a game that we're going to be playing for a couple days over several hours, so I'm definitely going to be more restrained. But that doesn't mean I'm always going to be restrained. We'll see. But it's funny because I did look at all the dragons, Mark, and I'm like, I wonder which one I'm gonna play. And then I'm like, oh, I know which one. At first, I go to the Misfits, and I'm looking at the Misfits. I'm like, oh, of course I have to play that one. But then I don't know if I want to play.
I thought you would either play a Misfit or a Wild Dragon, like the Indigo Party Dragon.
I do like the Indigos quite a bit. I do like our Indigo Dragons a lot. And I like them all, actually. But I think in a shorter session, just that 1D100 table is too fucking
enticing. It's very tempting.
It's very tempting.
It's huge. There's so many options on the table.
I know.
I remember when I told you about it. I was like, okay, so Steven, the Misfit book is going to take a few extra days beyond what we think. But in exchange, I'm using that time to write a D100 Wild Magic table. I'm sure you would pre-approve this if I had asked. And you were like, of course 100%.
I love that. By the way, we have a super chat way back when.
Did we?
But I will say, Instigator, I'll ruin everyone's fun if my fun stops. Rough. Yeah, no, right. This is what I'm very cognizant of. I'm just saying, like, given my druthers, I would rather do something than not do something.
So we have
the super chat is Dad on YouTube, Slipping Glicker, Chris $5, let me in on the Deathbringer playtest.
Well, is there a Deathbringer playtest?
Yeah, but
there
Mark's
will
in
be
charge
one.
Of it, not me.
So the first phase that's only for like a few people is going to be in September. Then there will be some later phases moving on.
Yeah.
And eventually everyone will get onto it, and it'll be open to different groups of people.
Yeah. We will let other people on, but right now it is those are the people who donate. They did the most, so they get it. So
the early alpha, just to have a few people kick the tires, is coming down.
That many people. That's the other thing. I mean, we have
we're creating truly moving philosophical ramifications because Ken has changed their mind about trusting WoTC 2 or 3 times during this conversation.
Interesting.
Really?
I mean, you might say you guys were not on topic, and we weren't. But what we were circling around is this idea of what is the value of a company and what is the relationship between you and that company and
the people in the company,
right? and the audience, and how much responsibility do you have as a customer to the people who create your game, and how much responsibility do the people who create your game has a responsibility to you as the consumer? And there's this kind of weird parasocial, symbiotic, but also parasitic relationship, right? Where, they want you to play their game, so they should sell it for cheap, but they also need to make money, so they need to sell it for a lot more money. But if they sell for a lot more money, you won't play their game. And if you don't play their game, then no one buys their game. And then you know what I mean? And so there's this idea of like, what is the right point? And what do you do when the market forces don't align? And how do you do that? So Wizards of the Coast is obviously trying their best to create more value for their customers and try to drive people to D&D Beyond, because obviously they see that as the future. And the question is, should you trust them? My answer is no.
Yes,
you shouldn't.
Well,
but they were to never be trusted.
Trust is a big word.
This isn't the person you're leaving your dog with.
Right.
Make a fucking role-playing game, guys.
Well,
Get
here's
over
where
it.
it gets fun. Wait. And then we'll wrap it up. I guess you don't have bracket ball.
No, not today. But I do need to eat. I'm about to pass out.
I got to go too. I have things. I actually have got a lot going on tonight. I got to have dinner. Then I have to do a football draft. And then we have to do session 0. That's a lot.
And then and then this is the asshole. This is the problem with Stephen Glicker. Remember, 15 minutes ago, we should stream after.
And then we should stream after. We should. You can do it on yours. People are gonna love it. Okay, let's do the vote. Let's do a little vote.
No vote. We need to finish.
No,
please.
I'm gonna do a vote to see who people will. If people want to hear you stream, come on. It's like.
I can't believe we have 128 people watching.
Yes. 129. It's like
going up there.
Damn you people. Go back to your shanties.
Steven to stream.
What?
After Session
the line from
0
Happy Gilmore.
on KO.
Okay.
The movie, Mark.
Yes, I actually know that it's a
LLC.
movie.
Start the poll. There we go. So,
I even know it's an Adam Sandler movie, Derek.
There you go.
which one? Which the Adam
I'm
Sandler
voting
movie?
no.
Everyone vote yes. There's the poll.
Let's see. Oh,
Fair
Derek,
enough, man. That's fair enough, man.
Wow.
You were one of the only people who voted no, Derek. I voted no in solidarity for you, and we're the only ones, I think, because it's 2 out of 17 who voted no. And
a lot of people want to hear about what you're going to be playing. Derek is the best, period.
Derek
People
is
love you,
literally
Derek.
everyone except
I do like Eldamon Trainer.
Oh, someone else joined us in.
Wouldn't it be fun? Come on, it'll be fun.
I was disappointed that because
I
his
asked
kind
her.
of life
She said
fell
it'll
apart.
be allowed where it's allowed.
No, I'm saying I'm kind of disappointed because his life kind of fell apart. That Smith was running that PF2 game.
Oh yeah.
Where I was the ooze, the intelligent ooze that was an Eldamon trainer.
Bring it back.
And that the way that I made Eldamon,
it could be the kid. It could be the offspring.
is I didn't befriend them. I consumed their
Yeah,
essence.
you consume them like Nano.
I asked Sammy ahead of time. She said as long as we know how to run it and help her, she said cool, no problem.
That means you could run the slime, the 5e version of the slime.
It doesn't necessarily have to be the ooze, but the Eldamon trainer was the part that was smoking.
It looks like
man,
Nin joined the two of us in solidarity, Derek. Literally everyone else voted yes. So
it'll be on your channel. You make all the money. I don't need the money for that.
Where is the "Are you in a shanty" poll? Yes. Shazbot says I get immense Schadenfreude from Derek, which is why I'm a patron of his. Yes, right. No, that's what I said. The number one thing that people, the number two thing that people come to me for is like advice and learning. The number one reason that people support me is because they enjoy watching me suffer.
And the number one thing I do is to help Derek suffer.
Oh, you are very good at that.
he's an enabler.
You're definitely an enabler.
But the thing is, Derek, he likes it. He likes it. Yeah, he does.
No, trust me. I you know what it is? I'm what they call a good sport about it. Okay. I understand that it's not being done. Like, I don't take
bullshit.
it
You
personally.
have fun. You have
are
fun.
you? I think that Derek is some kind of. He's like.
Stream.
It's not like I like it or anything. He's like he's like the fun and joy tsundere, where he just claims that he doesn't like anything, but he does like some of them.
Oh, by the way, I missed the eyeliner stream because I went to go see Spider-Man: Brand New Day. Go see that movie. That movie. 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10, A++. It is now on track to be the most profitable movie domestic in history on Earth for America.
What does it mean to be 11 out of 10?
It is a masterpiece. It is so
mark my words.
Good. It is so good.
Avenger Doomsday is going to do better than Spider-Man.
Actually, that's what they were saying that. So this is what they did. Because it just passed Avengers Endgame domestically, and the only one it has to beat now is Star Wars. That's it. It's the only thing above it is Star Wars, 900 million domestic, and it's right below it. It has 2.5 billion worldwide, which is insane. But they're re-releasing Endgame, and that re-release goes towards its total. So Endgame might then pass back. So it's this war between the three. It's like a three-way race between Star Wars, and it's tracking to make more money than Star Wars. But then will it still make more money than Endgame? I actually don't know. That's the thing. It's like, will Doomsday make more money domestically? Probably not. It might make more money internationally, but it probably won't make 900 million because there's a lot of bad will.
Alan, you have to remember, people don't. That's the thing. They're not trying to like hurt me, right? The whole point is like it's all
we get pleasure in Derek's pain.
Well, no, but like he's like, because you missed Derek getting a free phone. Oh, the suffering. Well, that's the point. Is like they're doing it from a point of like
love,
but so it's a very weird relationship. Like a lot of people have haters.
You know what it is? It's my
but like, I don't have like a sycophantic group of followers.
It's your dance for me, boy, dance
yeah,
for me.
it's a little bit of dance monkey dance. It's a little bit of that.
Dance for me,
yes.
monkey, dance, and you're like, okay, let me put on the eyeliner.
No, Shazbot. If we go warlock, I would definitely have to have my patrons be my patrons, and there would have to be some sort of like.
Yes.
Hopefully, there's good internet access. I don't know how remote this place is, but
I think there's good internet. She said there is. I saw there's good internet.
Marcus says, I think Derik's take on Vampire 6 is going to double his haters. I believe it.
What is your take on Vampire 6 is doubling your haters?
Because I was like, you know that this is going to be
wrong.
That people are going to hate this because I think it's great.
I saw a lot of hate on Vampire 6. I've been seeing
people absolutely hate it.
I've been seeing a lot of hate. And I said, by the way,
I could have told you that already because when I read it, I was like, oh, that's cool. Oh, neat. What a neat mechanic.
By the way, you said, did you see people?
And if I like something, it probably is not going to do well.
People in the chat were saying that I'm a game show host. That's what you said about me, Derik.
I told you that.
Right. No, people in the chat said that.
Maybe they got it from Derik.
Game show host.
Only my public persona is the game show.
Shazbot says, after I watched your V6 stream, all of my YouTube recommendations were for V6.
Me too. Me too.
Even though Derik liked it.
Well, to be clear, I also did think there was a little bit of like a when they got to the combat section. I was like, holy shit. It like went kind of like full PF2 after being like super like live in the tension between the beast and your humanity and indulge your humanic, your beast drive. And then all of a sudden it was like, all right, well, you get a major, a minor, and a move action, and here's your and I was like, okay, wow, that got really.
Wow, so that is very different.
84% of the people want us to stream after to talk about the thing. Maybe I get Sammy on. Oh, there we go.
No, that'd be fun, and see what Sammy's take is on the chaos that you guys are bringing in.
I'll tell you this: no Sammy, but you and me.
Yeah.
And what I can do is I can try to demo this new thing that I want to do.
Yeah, we can try that out.
Oh, look at that, people! You heard it here. So until next time, which actually might be later tonight when you hear about the session 0. If you want to learn about what's going on with camp for Steven and Derik and maybe talk about the topic for 10% of the stream, you have to roll for combat.
Hey, it was more like 5% of the stream.